Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and it is Overreaction Monday, which I'm telling you right now, there's going to be some overreactions today. What's going to be coming up here on today's show is it's time to start Aidan O'Connell. I've seen enough after 3 games of noodle arm Jimmy Garoppolo, and it's time to put AOC as your starting QB. Then we're going to look at some replacements for Josh McDaniels because as far as I'm concerned, he can go pack up his shit and he can go somewhere else next year. If you need to vent, if you need to talk, you can use hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to skip the line. And then basically the only thing I look forward to anymore when I talk about the Raiders is doing duck races. We're going to do a duck race at the very, very end of today's show. And if you send in a $5 Super Chat, send in it while you're venting, you're also entered in that duck race at the very, very end of today's show. Now, it is the very top of our live poll right now, which 91% of the votes say Josh McDaniels. But I want to know from the nation out there, who is more to blame for the Raiders' 1-2 start and for the games that you saw the past 2 weeks against Buffalo and then the game that you saw yesterday up against the Pittsburgh Steelers? Who's more to blame? If you think it's McDaniels, type JM. If you believe it's Jimmy Garoppolo, I want you to type JG. Juan Hernandez, Juice89, all spamming McDaniels. Queen Sarah Otto said both, and don't get it twisted. Both deserve blame. There is no doubt about it. But who deserves more blame? I'm going to give you my answer coming up here in a little bit on the show. Miss says Josh McDaniels. I got Adams going to go with McDaniels. Nick, Josh McDaniels, you know. Diehard Raider fan 365. Martin, Hershey, JM, Rebel Montana. What's up, my brother? All of the above. I should mention if Lucky Irish, if he pulls up here, I'm not drinking today, so no boo unless if he sends it in, I can make Rolly or Chugs do it on Thursday because, well, Chugs isn't here today, but guess what? I got another same, different.
Same, but different.
Same, but different. Shout out to Coop for pulling up today.
Raider Nation, what's good?
If it wasn't for Coop, would not have been able to do today's live show. So if you guys could, throw some Coops down in the chat. We'll give you guys some shout-outs here. What up, Venom? What up, Hammering? Raider Hank? Martin showing love to Coop. Queen Sarah Otto saying what's up with it. Devin Smith, Jimmy G can't sign himself. It's on Josh McDaniels. Hey, fair enough. We got a super chat rolling in here from Dylan Erickson. And you know what? He sent in a 10. We'll put him in the duck race here. What up, Dylan? McDaniels at the press conference. It's really hard to be a coach, since Tom Brady isn't holding my hand with play calling. And, Belichick isn't here. Walks out eating corn the long way. Believe me, man, it's really difficult listening to what McDaniels has to say because he is just the king at this point at deflecting questions, and he is the king of doing a 20-minute press conference and says nothing worth value. You know what I mean? Like, it's so frustrating to hear him. And then he got asked today again, would he do the field goal all over again?
Double down.
And he doubled down.
Unbelievable.
Simple math. I am horrible at math. Y'all know that. But I saw Waldron making jokes about it. What is 15 plus 8?
23.
Oh, shit. I mean, even if you go for it and you don't get the 2-point conversion, then you still got to trust your defense, and then you have a spot where field goal wins the game. The amount of scenarios that go on in his head, I just picture the old Homer Simpson clapping, you know what I'm talking about?
It's like the It's Always Sunny meme where he's looking like a mad scientist at the chalkboard.
Oh, yes. Dude, it's just unbelievably frustrating. Raider Muerte sending in the good vibes, which we desperately need. And then I see one coming in from Wild One. However, I do want to talk about Monday Night Football because, once again, we have 2 games, which at this point, I'm just looking forward to watching football. It does not make me, at the end of the night, want to throw up. Like, that Raiders game last night, I couldn't sleep. I was sick to my stomach. I still have a headache this morning from it. But out of the 2 Monday Night Football games tonight, which game is the better game? If you think it's the Eagles and Buccaneers, type E and B. If you think it's the Rams and Bengals, type R and B. Because to me right now, I don't know if Joe Burrow is going to be in this game. I still think it's probably going to be a game-time decision. Watching Tampa Bay right now, though, with Baker Mayfield is very, very interesting. But speaking of Monday Night Football tonight. I want y'all right now to pat yourself on the back, and I want you to give a huge shout-out to our brand-new sponsor here on the Raiders Report, Prize Picks. Every single time that I say, hey, y'all, we got a brand new sponsor on this show, I'm looking at each and every one of y'all saying thank you, but it goes a long way. Not only helping out Chugs and I, not only helping out Chat Sports, this is a big salute to the nation because we got the best damn fans in all sports. Y'all deserve better, and hopefully I can hook you up with some awesome deals. So let me tell you a little bit about our brand new sponsor here, Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Prize Picks is the most fun I have had, winning up to 25 times my money this football season. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. Prize Picks is, I'm telling you guys, an absolute game changer. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So I wanted to show you guys what I'm going to be doing tonight. So what I ended up doing is I selected 3 players here. Baker Mayfield, going to have more than 229.5 passing yards. And I had to double down with Mike Evans. Give me the more on that as well, 55.5. And because I have no idea what's going to happen with Joe Burrow, and even if Joe Burrow is out there, he does not look good, I'm going to take less on Jamar Chase, 73.5. So if you like making those kind of predictions, Prize Picks is exactly for you. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. I'm telling you right now, awesome. I've been playing Prize Picks recently, and I have no idea why I waited so long. Jugs and I, man, we're so in this. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Coop's going to put the links for you guys down in the comments and in the description of today's show. Let's go to Wild 114. What up, brother? Option 3 was more to blame. Duracell or Energizer, whatever battery, went dead in Josh's leapfrog to prevent him from calculating simple math. Dude, who's old enough to remember leapfrog? I mean,
Early.
This is an OG reference here, man. Simple math calculating. I could still picture the McDaniels out there. Oh, okay. You know what? Yeah, we probably could have actually gone for 2. You should have gone for a touchdown. But like, it's also frustrating because like the drive before that, you go down the field. Don't get me wrong. I'm always like NFL refs are trying to screw over the Raiders. That drive, the NFL officiating like did everything in their power to help the Raiders get down the field, and then they went for 2 and they got it. So it was the stat though that's mind-blowing was, and I'm going to try to find this real quick here because Wild One, you're going to love this. Let me just pull this up really quick here because this just goes to show again another situation where when it matters the most, McDaniels has no idea. I mean, this man broke the record last year for most 10-point blown leads after half. And now he's got this one to add to his resume. Since the 2-point conversion was adopted in 1994, the Raiders are the only NFL team to attempt a field goal in the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter when down by exactly 8 points with less than 5 yards to go for a first down or a touchdown.
McDaniels makes history.
I'm telling you what, this man's resume is getting impressive. If you're looking to tank and blow some leads, you hire Josh McDaniels. All right, let's go to the other Monday Night Football games now. Let's go back to it here, Coop. Philadelphia, Tampa Bay. I'm going to give shout-outs here. You all let me know who you got in these games. I am going to be sitting down and I'm going to be watching them for my own sanity. Like, I got to stop thinking about Sunday Night Football, and I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to enjoy the games, and I'm going to have some fun. And we're just going to watch them. Who you got tonight, Philly or Tampa?
I'm going to take Philly. I'm actually surprised with how Tampa's played. Baker Mayfield's actually been pretty decent this year.
He's been great.
Yeah, he's been way better than I thought, but I still think Philly's an absolute wagon, and they'll take care of business pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles as well. I do think that they are the better overall team, but watching Baker Mayfield play the way that he is, I'm sitting here saying, I think the Raiders might have been better off getting Baker Mayfield. That's just it's an insane statement. Ever since Baker went down, it was what? They were down 2 minutes, 16-3 last year on I think it was Thursday.
Thursday.
I don't even remember,
It's
man.
my favorite moment of Raiders Report history.
Oh, yeah. I'm not shitting
Touchdown
you.
Rams. I'm not shitting you.
Oh, dude, it was devastating. The amount of roller coaster rides that this team provides for you. If you get seasick or car sick, you shouldn't be a Raider fan. Let's go to Dylan Erickson again. Can we get some coaching replacement options? Luckily, Dylan, I got a whole slew of them today. The amount of questions that I got yesterday of, well, Mitch, if the Raiders end up firing Josh McDaniels, what's the next step? I got some interim coaches, but then I have the names that I think a lot of people want to see in terms of who could be the coach for 2024. Because obviously, if they fire McDaniels, you're just going to hire an interim. You're not going to go out and get somebody else. You bring in that interim or just promote an interim. And then in 2024, that's when you go out and you look for a brand new head coach. What up, Rebel? News on Jimmy G and a possible AOC debut in Week 4. So the latest news on Jimmy Garoppolo is he is in the concussion protocol. When asked about it today, McDaniels didn't really give a solid answer of, like, obviously he got hit at some point, but he did end up finishing that game. McDaniels said that he didn't know what hit it was or, like, what caused them to put him in the concussion protocol. When asked if Aidan O'Connell would be the starter if Jimmy G can't go, he didn't say yes. He didn't say no. He kind of just pushed it to the side but left it open. I'm going to tell you this right now. I know I get asked all the time, are the Raiders tanking this and that? If the Raiders trot out Brian Hoyer instead of putting in Aidan O'Connell, when all we have heard is a lot of things that this coaching staff is doing is they're trying to look and they're trying to build for the future, right? Here's the secret. Brian Hoyer, he ain't the future. I mean, this dude has been around in the NFL for 15, 16 years. It's time to roll with the rookie. And the segment that I got coming up here on today's show is it's time to start Aidan O'Connell. And I hope that the Raiders see this. I hope Josh McDaniels sees this because at this point, what else does the nation have to hope for? Because if you play with Jimmy Garoppolo out there for the entire season, you're winning 5 or 6 games. And maybe that's what they want to do, but the nation deserves better.
They do. They absolutely deserve better. And Jimmy, it obviously hasn't been a very good start to Jimmy's tenure here in Las Vegas. But look, I mean, is Aidan O'Connell ready to play NFL football right now?
I don't know.
And if he's not, you want to find out. I think that's kind of where you're at.
That's my point. The draft class is so deep next year that you might as well just figure out what the hell you got in Aidan O'Connell. Because I know this, O'Connell can throw a ball 40 yards.
Yeah. We're not sure if Jimmy can.
I don't know. Like, I legitimately, it's sad to say this, but I said it, I've been saying it for weeks where there was a part of me where I'm like, I think I could throw football further than Jimmy Garoppolo. Everybody for weeks said, no, Mitch, you're crazy. Now there's a point where I say it, and I think people actually sit back and they go, well, maybe.
He's got a point.
That's sad. It should never even be a doubt in your mind. Give me a Y for yes. Type your N for no. Is it time to start Aidan O'Connell? What do you guys have to say here? Tony, Nick says yes. Juan Hernandez, Lorenzo, Jimmy throws like a girl. There's a lot of girls that could probably throw a football further than Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, man, Javier, Mr. Leroy, Buckethead, Michael, Zalesbo, The Sloth, JK, Jonathan Shea, Scott O'Brien, Robbie Barton, Adam, Bob, Juice89. I haven't seen a single N for no. Let's go to Mountain Raider, more legend here. David Zahn. Appreciate you, my brother. Kind of think it would be fun to do a betting poll to see who gets fired first. Jimmy Garoppolo, Josh McDaniels, or Russell Wilson. So when you say get fired first, what is getting fired for Jimmy Garoppolo? Getting cut? Is that getting fired for Garoppolo?
I'll bet my mortgage on Russell Wilson being last on this list.
I mean, because to me, Jimmy Garoppolo getting benched isn't getting fired.
I agree, yeah. I would say getting fired means getting cut.
Getting fired meaning cut. I mean, this would be, if it's literally getting fired, then technically Josh McDaniels is the one that you want to bet on. But I agree with you where Russell Wilson, yeah, the Broncos have been bad, but from a number standpoint,
It's impossible.
He hasn't played that bad, and you're right. From the money standpoint, it's like 90-something million they would eat.
Russell Wilson will be there through at least next season, I believe.
That's good to hear. That makes me happy. At least we have something positive to think about. The other positive spin on this is the Raiders are at second place in the AFC West.
There we go.
And, I mean, what's so great about Raider Nation, and I'm the same way, and I know people are going to be laughing at me next week. If the Raiders beat the Chargers, we're going to be popping champagne. We're going to be doing beer chugs. We're going to celebration.
All is right in the world.
Victory Monday is going to hit so good next week. But if it's another loss and you're 1-3, yikes. Head for the dude, you might as well just start running because I'm going to be losing my absolute mind here. All right, let's talk about the other Monday night football game. And I just saw this update from Ian Rappaport with Joe Burrow's status in some doubt. So the fact that Burrow's got a little bit of doubt here, I'm definitely loving my prize picks pick with Jamar Chase. 73.5 receiving yards, less than that. So who you got tonight? Rams, Bengals. LAR for the Rams, CIN for the Bengals. Are they about to drop to 0-3? If they don't got Burrow, I think the answer is yes.
Best 0-3 team in NFL history?
Are they? The Raiders were 0-3 a few years ago, so
fair enough.
Hard to compete with that, right? Oh, man. Rams or Bengals? What do y'all think about this one? I think I'm going to go Rams. If it's no Burrow, you can't go with Cincinnati. If there's no Joe Burrow.
If Burrow's not playing, you can't pick him.
And right now, Rappaport is saying that there's some doubt.
I think the Rams are also better than people thought they would be.
Yeah, I agree with that. Matt Stafford has played pretty well. And then, what's his name, the receiver? I tried to pick him up in fantasy. I can't think of his name. Puka.
Nakua, right? Something like that?
Yeah, dude, if you would have told me that that'd be the number one receiver after 2 weeks in fantasy, I would have said, I owe y'all a lot of money. We got Juan Hernandez going to go with the Rams. RF says, who cares? I care. Because mentally, I need to watch a football game that doesn't make me want to rip my eyes out. That's why. OB Boogie's going to go with the Rams. I got Bengals from Tony Barrera. Cali Misfit, Rams, Blue Richards going with Cincinnati. Let's go with Aiden Woods. You're next up here on the Raiders Report. And he says, Ben Johnson for head coach. I'll say this. I got 11 candidates. We got 6 on the offensive side, 5 on the defensive side. You might see Ben Johnson on my list of Josh McDaniels replacements. I didn't rank them, but what I decided to do is just kind of give you guys an overarching look at some of the better candidates that I want the nation to focus on. And then here's the thing. Like, I guarantee I do a Josh McDaniels replacement video more than once this year. I think I did it 3 or 4 times last season, and the list is going to grow the more and more names I start to learn, and then, you can see certain names, and you're like, maybe I don't want those guys right now. The good part is you don't have to hire anyone at this current moment, but I do think it's good to at least start focusing on certain people, right? We put so much concentration on the Caleb Williams talk, right? Like for me, college football, Saturdays, all I do is watch quarterbacks. I only watch quarterbacks. I don't care about other games. I only watch certain QBs. Well, now what I'm going to start doing is watching certain coordinators, how certain guys handle certain situations. That's what I'm going to be looking forward going forward now. All right, y'all, we got 650 people here. If you haven't already, make sure you click that like button. It does go a long way, showing some love, showing some support to what we do here at Chat Sports, at the Raiders Report. And because the duck race seemed to be the highlight, both of them yesterday, which I can't even believe what happened yesterday. Tri-Van won the first duck race with 70 ducks in it, and then that mother ducker won it again with 70 ducks in it. Back-to-back. Now, Tri-Van's a Mount Raidermore legend, so he donated the jersey back, and we did it again.
And then he won again.
No. But for you to win 2 duck races with over 70 ducks, I don't know what the odds are, but I don't want Josh McDaniels to do that math either because he ain't figuring that one out. So if you want to get in this duck race for a chance to win a Real One for Life shirt, that's what it's going to be, man. We got a Real One for Life shirt that stands. If you don't know what a Real One is here at Chat Sports, it means people who are always riding and dying with us. We have a saying, obviously, for Raider Nation. It's Raider Nation for life. So our spin on it here on the Raiders Report is Real One for Life. So if you want an opportunity to get a Real One for Life shirt, $5 to enter our duck race. And right now, the ducks that are in the race is Dylan, Wild One, and David Zahn. Those are the ducks right now that are in the race, and we're going to do that at the very, very end of the show. Zahn said, imagine Tri-Van rigged it. You know what was funny, Zahn? The amount of people that thought that we rigged it for Tri-Van, I was like...
It's quite literally impossible.
Oh, yeah, it is impossible. But then also, there were a few people that were mad because obviously Tri-Van's donated a lot. But I was like, how could you be mad at somebody who has donated so much to the show? And then he sent me a picture. He said his car was attacked by turkeys.
What?
He sent me a picture of his car. And literally, when somebody says that to you, you're like, that's so absurd. His car was...
Oh, my goodness.
His car was attacked by turkeys. Like, you can't make that up, okay? If that's the lie that you go with...
Wow.
Yeah,
creative.
Congratulations. So he at least gets to have his car get fixed up here a little bit, and hopefully he doesn't get attacked by any more turkeys, which I will say, the first animal that I ever hit with my car back home, there was a bank. I'm driving along. There's a huge bank. I was going to my buddy's house, and a turkey came over the bank, and it went under my wheel and just sprayed my entire car. Feathers and all, man.
Knock on wood, I've never hit an animal with a car yet, but I know it's coming at some point.
Yeah, sooner or later. Sooner or later, it's bound to happen. I've seen some pretty wild shit, though, like my friends hitting all sorts of stuff. But again, I live in the middle of nowhere. If anybody saw that video with Marshawn Lynch with like an Amish country, that's not too far where I grew up from. I mean, it's horse and buggies. Imagine paying $15,000 for a horse and buggy, because that's what they cost. Got another one rolling in here from Obi-Wan Kenobi. What's up, man? Oh, after Bills, Mitch, give Josh McDaniels time this week. Also, Mitch, fire Josh now. Which QB do you want the Raiders to take next year, and was a Clea better first-round pick than Tyree Wilson? Thank you, fellas. So my whole thing with McDaniels, and I really, really wanted to just be a positive person, right? Anybody that watches the show long enough knows I do not believe in McDaniels, never have, probably never will. Same thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. Didn't want them to go have him, but I also didn't want to be the person that was just negative Nancy for an entire football season. I was saying, okay, you went out, you got your guy. Can it actually work? I'm going to hope that it can, even though in my gut, I don't think it's going to work. And I think that's where a lot of Raider fans are right now with Josh McDaniels and Jimmy Garoppolo. Once Jimmy G trots out there, if he's available to play in week 4, guess what? I'm going to be rooting for Jimmy G. I'm going to be rooting for the Raiders. I'm going to be rooting for Josh McDaniels. But in my gut, I don't think it's going to work. So the fact that everything that happened yesterday, it just piled on all of the emotions of everything that went on last season, plus in years past, and just how I feel about this freaking offense and how I feel about McDaniels. That, yeah, man, like, I'm so done with his ability to try to be a head coach, because this offensive guru that we have, he's just offensive at this point. It's so bad. And do I think Cleve was a better first-round pick than Tyree Wilson? Y'all got to give Tyree Wilson some time. Like, what people are really, really failing to realize is the Raiders didn't want to put Tyree Wilson in the game right. Like, they don't want him out there at this current moment. If you want to put blame on one dude, you put blame on Chandler Jones. The plan was for the Raiders to have Chandler Jones and then get Tyree Wilson slowly acclimated. Like, he's not 100% healthy. That is clear as day to me. And when asked about it today, McDaniels even said that he's not 100% healthy. However, you have to play him because the guy that you were relying on, Chandler Jones, I don't know what's happening with Chandler Jones. So, has Tyree looked good? No, but you're also, he's playing at 80% health right now.
He's also not going to be Max Crosby right away. I mean,
correct.
He's not going to be an elite pass rusher day one.
I mean, you're not going to, I get when people draft somebody at number 7 overall, and sure, you passed on Jalen Carter, and everybody wants the Raiders to get Jalen Carter. Here's the thing. Jalen Carter on the Eagles is a totally different player than Jalen Carter on the Raiders.
Agreed.
He's a totally different player if you put Jalen Carter on the Chicago Bears. He is in the perfect situation in Philadelphia for what he's capable of doing. Also, Obi, you in. Let's go to Arlene, excuse me, start AOC, and can I get a Raiders? Arlen, you in. Raiders pod. McDaniels and Ziegler don't draft any better than Mayock and Gruden. I'm in. You are in, but I am going to respectfully disagree. I'll admit, I had a lot higher hopes for this current draft class. Tyree Wilson has not looked good yet, but we'll give him some time. Michael Mayer looks completely lost, but to me, that's more on the coaching staff. They're not using him in the right ways, and I think a perfect example of that was yesterday when they're sending Mayer in motion to block, and the play that they were trying to design is where the center just gets off the ball. They try to get him up on a linebacker, and you use the tight end to come across and then block the defensive tackle. But Michael Mayer is still not working his way all the way across the line, and you put him in a terrible spot. It's the play where Jimmy Garoppolo got tackled, literally handing the ball to Jacobs, if you remember that early on in the game. The first-round blunders that the Raiders made with Mayock and Gruden, you can't replicate that. That was so bad. Yes, they found Max Crosby. Yes, they found Nate Hobbs. Yes, they ended up finding what's his name as well, my lord, Nate Hobbs, Hunter Renfrow, that was the other name. But to me, I still think that what this organization has done in the draft has been better, though I don't know if it's been all that good. Let's go to Mario Moreno. You in? What a bad Monday feeling. You guys pretty much have said everything I felt. Thanks for venting for me over it. Let's go Raiders. Hey, I wanted to do Overreaction Monday shows this year because I wanted to be able to vent as well. I'm a normal dude just like y'all. Like, when the Raiders play a game like that, I just feel like my wheels just turn and turn and turn, and I just sit there and I go back and I think of all the things that this team could have done, everything that they should have done differently. But what's frustrating is the idea that it's the same thing to me every single week. It's just McDaniels going up to the podium saying that, oh, we didn't execute, and then it's just this excuse, it's that excuse, it's this excuse. And, I'm kind of glad Devontae Adams called out the Raiders in general, and we're like, yo, man, we got to stop talking. We just got to start doing it. And he didn't point out maybe at McDaniels with certain things, but he definitely pointed the finger in some ways, and there's a lot of blame that deserves to be had. I know the Raiders players are frustrated. I talked to a few yesterday, or technically this morning is what I should say, that they were frustrated. But, they're always telling me, well, we can only do so much. And that's the unfortunate part. Let's go to Borelli. Fire everyone. See, my only thing is, and this might be a popular opinion with some, it's probably an unpopular opinion with others, I actually like Dave Ziegler. From people inside the league that I talk to, Dave Ziegler is a very, very well-respected general manager. I'll admit, Ziegler has to understand that when you're an adult and you tie yourself to somebody, so if you tie yourself to Josh McDaniels, you're always going to be connected. What I'm curious to see is if the Raiders ended up doing something where they only fired McDaniels and they ended up keeping Ziegler, because I do actually think Ziegler's a smart-minded person. With some of the contracts that he's been able to draw up, get out of, I do think it speaks to a level of that checkers and chess conversation where everyone else is playing checkers, but the Raiders with their contracts were playing chess. The problem is the execution on the field is just bad. It's bad, and that's going to happen when you have shitty coaches, and the Raiders right now have shitty coaches. Let's go to Aiden Woods. What up, man? Kuntz and Hobbs played out of their minds yesterday and flew under the radar. Bennett also went bad besides that penalty, which was frustrating. You're going to get your lumps as a rookie with Jacorian, and that's just something that's going to happen. But if Jacorian Bennett was on a defense that could actually get after the quarterback and he didn't have to cover guys as long as he does, I do think he could do a little bit better. There's going to be ups and downs. Nate Hobbs is just showing yet again that this guy's incredible. He is a dog. He can play all over the football field. And then you're right. Malcolm Kuntz yesterday had a 35% win rate when trying to get after the quarterback. Crosby, for comparison, yesterday had 21%. Malcolm Kuntz deserves a lot more playing time, and I just don't understand why he's not getting it. I get the fact that the Raiders, they come up with this plan to do 4 defensive tackles on the line and then throw in Max Crosby. But to me, how can you watch what Malcolm Kuntz did last night and then continues to do and not put him out on the football field for an opportunity to get after the quarterback? Because he would have had a sack yesterday, but he got held on the play that was that first touchdown down the field to Calvin Austin. I mean, it's blatant hold. I don't know how it wasn't called, but hey, it wasn't called. But Malcolm Kuntz deserves more playing time. Danny fan, Raiders will be 1-3 by next Sunday. Maybe. And there's also a chance that the Chargers will be 1-3 by next Sunday. Mike Williams, done for the season, torn ACL. That's probably not going to help. Also, Danny, what I don't get, and I appreciate the fact that you watch the Raiders Report, obviously for a Chargers fan, and there's a reason we don't have a Chargers channel, simply because there's like 6 Chargers fans in the entire world. But all I'll say is this, man, there's a lot of pictures on Google. You can get a better one. Like, I don't even know what that is. That's half of a bolt. You can do better, Danny. I believe in you. Bully face. McDaniels won't win a playoff game as a head coach. It's the sad truth. We got to get to the playoffs first, right? I mean, winning a playoff game, then getting to the playoffs is two totally different conversations. I don't disagree with you. I mean, I still think that the Raiders, there's still plenty of time to turn this ship around. Like, I look at the roster, and the defense has played much better. We can all agree with that, right? Yeah, the Bills game is the Bills, but the Bills are a totally different animal, literally. But also on top of that, the defense has played better. If the offense can just get it going a little bit, and sometimes you just need a spark, and maybe that spark wears number 4. Let's go to Wild One. 4-13 plus or minus 1 Raiders record. I am currently 3-0. So you're saying you predicted the Raiders to beat the Broncos, lose to the Bills, lose to the Steelers, correct? Is that where you're going with that? I mean, I thought that the Raiders would beat Pittsburgh. So did Madden. I think I'm most upset that our Madden simulation now is no longer 100% correct, but hey, is what it is. Let's go to another one coming in from Raider Gaines. We got 890 people here in the building. It's Overreaction Monday. Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, and if you haven't already, hit that like button. If you want the Raiders to fire Josh McDaniels, click that like button. Raiders are going on a winning streak, I hope. I think this loss and what Adam said lit a fire under everyone, and hopefully our home field fans too. I heard what TJ Watt said, basically like how he thought it was pretty crazy how they could do silent count at a Raiders game. But the other part of it is this, right? Raider Gaines, like, if you're a Raiders fan right now and you don't feel like your head coach is worth a damn, why are you going to go spend? I was looking at the tickets when I was out in Vegas, $800, $900 for nosebleed seats. Like, are you going to pay all that money to just go home and be frustrated? Like, I hear people, I get that people want to have that home field advantage, but Mark Davis also has to look at himself in the mirror and say, hey, like, I get I'm trying to make money here, but if you want more Raider fans to show up, you got to have that product and that price be equal. I mean, if you went to the grocery store right now and Mountain Dew, not a sponsor, was $100 a case, would you buy it? The answer is probably no. People buy Mountain Dew at a case price at a reasonable because that's what it's worth. Right now, you're trying to sell Raiders tickets at that price when it needs to be much, much lower. Trey W., you in, man. What's up? Should the Raiders draft a quarterback? I want Caleb Williams, but I feel we will be in position for Drake May. The only way you're getting Caleb Williams if you have the number 1 overall pick, and the Raiders might have a shot. Luckily, they play the Chicago Bears week 7, and that could decide who ends up getting the number 1 overall pick. But, like, I still don't think that the Raiders are that bad of a football team. There are a lot of really talented QBs, but one of the biggest reasons why you got to start O'Connell to see what you got is this question exactly right here. If O'Connell's the guy, you're good. You don't need to draft a quarterback. If he's not the guy, and McDaniels failed with Jimmy Garoppolo, his guy, drafted O'Connell, his guy, clean house, go draft your quarterback and get a brand new head coach. That's what you do. That's why it's important to start O'Connell. Nick, thanks for the informative Raiders content, Mitch. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks to Raider Nation for being family during turmoil since '82. It's my first time. Am I in? Giggity. Nick, you feel that? You in. Shout out to you, brother. And I mean, like, that's why I love hanging out with the nation. I mean, this show is just as much of a therapy session for me as I hope that it is for you, because when the Raiders lose the way that they lost yesterday, I'm telling you, man, I couldn't go to sleep last night. I literally had to put my phone down, had to put it in the other room. Like, I couldn't have it near my bed, had to put it in the other room because I couldn't look at it anymore just because I went on a tweeting rampage. My thumbs hurt from tweeting as much as I did yesterday. Some of y'all might think they hurt from something else, but no, I don't do that kind of stuff. PG, I'm still drunk from the tequila shots that you poured me on Saturday night. I was doing okay, and then PG came up to me with these, we'll call them shots. I mean, it was like drinking a red Solo cup, basically, of a shot. I think Adams is at breaking point of wanting to be traded. Put me in, coach. PG, you're absolutely in, and I mean, there's a lot of frustration there from Davante Adams. He's playing at an extremely high level. He's targeted 20 times, 13 grabs, 178 yards. 2 touchdowns last night, but
he was unbelievable last night.
You can't stop him.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the if it wasn't for Devontae, imagine trying to watch this offense. I mean, you have Josh Jacobs, and right now the Raiders are ranked dead last in the NFL in rushing yards per game with 61 rushing yards per game. Teams are stacking the box. The plays are super easy and predictable, but you can't stop 17. He does what he wants at any single given time. And when you look at Devontae's contract, this upcoming offseason, or no, it's the following year. How many years is it? Second year, it's the following year. 3 years we got him. That's when you can get out of his deal. Like, Devontae's going to be a Raider. After that, like after 2024, that's where the conversation of like, could the Raiders move on from Devontae actually exists. PG, much love to you. All right, y'all, we got 950 people here. What we're going to end up doing is this. It's time to start Aidan O'Connell. We're going to get into the very first segment here on the Raiders Report. If anybody sends in any more super chats or anybody needs to vent while I'm going through this show, we will answer them after the Aidan O'Connell segment. Then it's going to be time to get into Josh McDaniels' replacements because I think we've all had it with that clown trying to be a head coach. If you need to super chat or if you need to vent, please super chat or use hashtag Raiders. Then at the very, very end of the show, we are going to do a duck race for a real one for life shirt. Let me get a sip of water here. No. And then we'll get this thing rocking and a rolling. Coop, you ready to go? Coop's giving me the thumbs up. I'm giving y'all a thumbs up. Coming up right now, the Raiders need to start Aidan O'Connell. It's time for the Las Vegas Raiders to start Aidan O'Connell and put Jimmy Garoppolo on the bench. It is the best thing that this organization can do now, and it's the best thing that this organization can do for the long haul. But you know what? I don't know what McDaniels is going to do. Right now, as it stands, Jimmy Garoppolo is in the concussion protocol as I am making this video. But let's have a little bit of fun here, okay? Who should start Week 4 against the Chargers? If you think it's Jimmy Garoppolo, I want you to type 1. If you think Aidan O'Connell should start, type 2. If you believe Brian Hoyer should be the starting quarterback for the Silver and Black, type 3. I'm telling you all this right now. If I see any 1s, if I see any 3s, oh man, we might delete the channel. I want to see nothing but 2s down in our live show, down in the segment, because it is Aidan O'Connell time. You got to give the nation a reason to believe. You got to give the nation a reason to go buy those tickets. You got to give the nation some sort of hope for the future. And it's Aidan O'Connell. You know why? Because it's definitely not Jimmy Garoppolo. And speaking of Garoppolo, he was unable to talk to the media after the Sunday Night Football loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. McDaniels spoke a little bit this morning on Monday about the availability of the quarterback. He is in the concussion protocol, which means anything can happen. I mean, we saw Devontae last week was in the concussion protocol, ended up playing. Week 1, Jacoby Myers was in the protocol, ended up not playing. And I know a lot of people think because Jimmy's not going to be able to go, or I should say if he's unable to go, the conversation now gets brought up. Do you go with Brian Hoyer or do you go with Aidan O'Connell? And McDaniels did not say which direction he would end up going with. He didn't shut the door on going with the rookie out of Purdue. But, let me just say this right now. I know all offseason people have been saying, oh, the Raiders are tanking, Josh McDaniels is tanking, and I hate the idea that people make millions and millions of dollars playing football. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of violence in the game. There's all that. But you're still making millions and millions of dollars. And I can't wrap my mind around the idea of tanking. If Jimmy Garoppolo is unable to go this week and Josh McDaniels puts Brian Hoyer out there on that field instead of Aidan O'Connell, I'm convinced, and I mean this, I am convinced that this team's trying to tank. And I don't like the idea of telling Raider fans not to go to games because you're an adult and you can do what you want. I'll tell you this right now, I wouldn't go to a Raiders game if they're going to trot out Brian Hoyer and literally try to lose. But then again, Jimmy Garoppolo's been bad. He right now leads the NFL in interceptions with 6. And if you want to make a comparison, the person that's the next closest to him in terms of interceptions is Sam Howell. Garoppolo has been sacked 4 times, and he's got 6 interceptions. Sam Howell has got 5 interceptions, and he's been sacked 19 times. You see the difference there? Jimmy's throwing ducks left and right. Hell, I'm starting to wonder if I should just put a Jimmy Garoppolo duck in every single duck race we do, because for the 3 games, he's just throwing them up. They float up there. He's getting his receivers killed. The amount of punts that he's doing by himself is honestly pretty damn impressive. But what's really sad is, legitimately, I sat up here on the show, and I said it halfway joking. I think a lot of people agree with me with this. I said I might be able to throw a football further than Jimmy Garoppolo. And the fact that it's even a thought, like even if it's a 1% chance, that's sad. That should never, ever happen. And the problem is, I might actually be able to do it, because Jimmy Garoppolo's arm is the problem. It's the reason why we can't run the ball. It's the reason why we can't stretch the field. Jimmy G is on pace to throw for 34 interceptions and 0 completions over 40 yards. It's not quite how you win football games in the NFL. Now, here, y'all, coming up next on the show is why the Raiders have to start Aidan. Like, it is time to go with the rookie, and if you agree with the idea that it's time to bench Jimmy G, and if you agree with the idea that it's time to start Aidan O'Connell, I want you to take a second, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. That way, every single time we break something down on this show, you do not miss it. But I really, really want you guys to hit that sub button, because when Aidan starts and we're doing a watch party, it's going to be rocking and it's going to be rolling. Also, huge shout out to our brand new sponsor, y'all. Pat yourself on the back. Anytime we get a new sponsor here on the Raiders Report, it's a huge, huge shout out to y'all. And I am so excited because Prize Picks is totally changing the game. Daily fantasy sports made easy. Prize Picks is the most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my money this football season. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So at the time I'm recording this video, we got Monday Night Football tonight. And I wanted to show you the 3 players that I said, you know what? These are the guys I'm riding with. Baker Mayfield, more than 229.5 passing yards. Which that means then I'm going to double down here with Mike Evans. Give me 55.5 more receiving yards. And Joe Burrow, the status is unknown. Jamar Chase, less than 73.5 receiving yards. And if you want to play as well, go right there. You see that link? Click on that bad boy. Coop's going to throw that down in the comments, and it's going to be in the description of today's show. I've been playing Prize Picks recently, and I have no idea why I waited so long. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring the Raiders Report. Really excited because, man, I've been using them for a long time, and the fact that they're actually on the show, totally full circle, and it's a big reason why I love y'all, because you're helping this thing grow. All right, it's time to start Aidan O'Connell. I'm going to give you 5 reasons. The #1 reason, Jimmy Garoppolo and Brian Hoyer, I try to think of the nicest way I could say this. They suck. I mean, they're bad. I remember watching Brian Hoyer in the preseason, and I was like, holy shit. I get it. You want to have him out there in the practice. You want to have him, during preseason. You want to have your player coach. Brian Hoyer is not a top 50 quarterback in the NFL. And then you got Jimmy Garoppolo right now. Oh, his arm. Brian Hoyer looks like he throws, from a baseball term, 95-mile-an-hour fastballs, and Jimmy Garoppolo's sitting at 85 right now. Imagine in the MLB a professional pitcher throwing 85. That's what Jimmy Garoppolo's doing. And because they can't stretch the field, teams just stack the box and they take away everything. He doesn't have the arm strength to throw it outside the numbers. Between the numbers, all day, he can do it. But outside of that, man, it's a really vanilla offense with a very vanilla quarterback, and you can thank your guy, Josh McDaniels. The next thing is this. The offense, it's offensive. Watching this team play 3 games in a row and thinking about how much money they invested, how much draft capital they invested on the offensive side of the ball, and yet we're dealing with what we're dealing with here. Like, I don't understand. We heard all this, we're going to do pre-snap motion. Has anybody seen any pre-snap motion from Trey Tucker? I know I haven't. I feel like we're lining up, hike. Let's try to get 5 or 6 yards here. Or we're going to run with 8 guys in the box. Let's hope to get 2 or 3. Josh Jacobs led the NFL in rushing yards last season with 1,653. The The Raiders are dead last in the NFL with rushing yards per game at 61.7. If you take away the Trey Tucker run of 34 yards, we're not even close to the next team that's second to last. And, this is embarrassing. Passing yards, you got Jacoby Myers and Devontae Adams. Total yards per game, 25th. Points per game, tied for 29th. You have an offensive guru who spent all this money, free agency, draft, and this is the product that we have. What's the excuse now, McDaniels? You got your QB, and this is the product that's on the field. It's atrocious. The next thing, you got to see what Aidan O'Connell has. Not only to give your fan base a little bit of hope here, because at this point, I really do think that Aidan O'Connell is a better option for the Raiders just for the simple fact that he is going to scare defenses who O'Connell don't even have that great of a deep ball. But I know this, it's a lot better than Jimmy Garoppolo's deep ball. And if you have the ability to at least throw it 40 yards, defenses aren't going to be able to stack the box. It's going to then open it up a little bit for Josh Jacobs. It's going to open it up a little bit for Jacoby, Hunter Renfrow, which I don't even know if he's still on the team anymore at this point. But O'Connell in the preseason, I know it's just the preseason. 26 of 36, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns. But I'm a big eye test person. And any single person that has a pulse that watched the Raiders during the preseason, did Aidan O'Connell pass the eye test, yes or no? The answer is yes. He looked the part. He was able to execute the offense. And sure, he's going up against preseason defenders. We'll call it what it is. But he's also throwing to Keelan Cole, Christian Wilkerson. Imagine what he could do with Jacoby, Hunter Renfrow, Michael Mayer, maybe Austin Hooper. Oh, yeah, this guy named Devontae Adams. I want to see what you have in Aidan O'Connell because you have to do that for your fan base. You have to see if this rookie is going to be your quarterback for the future because I know this. It's not Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not Brian Hoyer. And if it's not Aidan O'Connell, well, then luckily the 2024 quarterback draft class is deep, and then you can go find your QB. Because if I was Mark Davis, I would say, all right, McDaniels, you wanted Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not working. Now you go with Aidan O'Connell. You were able to get your quarterback in free agency. It didn't work. Check. All right, let's go to the next one. You got your quarterback in the draft, Aidan O'Connell. That's not looking like it's going to work either. Fire him, and now you go get a brand new head coach. It's probably going to have a high draft pick, and then you have the opportunity to have a brand new head coach go get his quarterback. That is the most sensible thing that this Raiders organization could do, which probably means Mark Davis will say, trot out Brian Hoyer for the remainder of the season. So here's right now the 2024 quarterback draft class, and it's not ranked in any particular order. It's just some of the names out there. I'll be real with you, though. The names that there's a clear tier break for me. Caleb Williams, Drake May are the top two. Then I like Michael Penix Jr. We got Coop over here. He's a big Texas guy. I was so out on Quinn Ewers. The amount of growth that he has just done in terms of his growing up as a human. Quinn Ewers is definitely another name to keep in mind. And then to me, there is a huge tier break. I don't know if Shedeur Sanders is going to come out. I don't really look at him as a ready-to-go NFL quarterback right away. J.J. McCarthy's got some talent. Bo Nix is just Mr. Checkdown. Spencer Rattler has tons and tons of talent, but he seems like a knucklehead to me. Jaden Daniels, good athlete, and I need to watch a little bit more tape on Riley Leonard, though I've heard some good things about him. But to me, the only quarterbacks that really make me excited, Ewers, Penix Jr., Drake May, and Caleb Williams. And they're all better than Aidan O'Connell. But the only way that you're going to be able to find that out is if you play the rookie. Let's go to the last one, and this is probably the reason why, if anything, McDaniels would do it. If Aidan O'Connell proves to be the guy, he saves his job. Because right now, the way that this thing is trending, if the Raiders you win 7 games with Jimmy Garoppolo, there's a chance that he doesn't come back. There's a chance. I still think that they end up keeping him because that's what they want to do. But if the Raiders go 7-10 and Aidan O'Connell looks the part, you're like, all right, this kid can do it. He keeps his job. And from what I have seen, McDaniels cares more about his personal image because he can't admit that he did stuff wrong. He's always that person's fault, that person's fault, that person's fault. He's the king of deflection, which if I was a Raiders player and I heard what he has said in the last 24 hours, I would be very, very upset with my head coach, but that's just me. But McDaniels can save his job if Aidan O'Connell proves to be the Raiders' future quarterback, which to me is probably what he cares about. So here we go. Here's the multi-million-dollar question to every single person watching this live and every single person that's going to watch this on a later date. Is it time to start Aidan O'Connell? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. If you're going to type your N for no, that's totally fine. The show is about giving people a voice. All I ask that you do, even if you type your yes, I think the yes is a little bit more clear, but if you're typing your N for no, all I ask is tell me why. That way, when I'm going through the comments and I'm looking at them, I can see what you have to say. Because to me, it is clear as day. It is time to go with Aidan O'Connell. It's time to go with him because you got to give your fan base something to hope for this year and for the future. If all we're doing is just simply saying that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be what we do time and time and time again, it's going to be a long, long year. I don't want to just focus on 2023. Yeah, obviously I want to win football games. But to me, Aidan O'Connell gives you a better shot winning right now, and he gives you a better shot of hopefully having a successful future down the road. That is why it is time for the Raiders to put Jimmy Garoppolo on the bench, put Brian Hoyer in a retirement home, and time to get Aidan O'Connell some starting reps there for the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, y'all, let's give some shout-outs here. Coop, are you in agreement with me? O'Connell, yes or no? Is it time to start him? You watched the game yesterday. So, Coop, for those that don't know, Coop was producing the Steelers.
I was.
Last night.
The question I would have for you is, do the Raiders need to win right now? And if they do need to win right now, is Aidan O'Connell the best QB on the roster for them to do that?
I say maybe. I think it's a maybe. To me, the Raiders' offense has been so bad.
Yeah, it's been terrible. And I don't think Jimmy is the answer for what it's worth. Brian Hoyer's not the answer, and you don't know if Aidan O'Connell's the answer. So it's no, and maybe. So maybe it is time to
me,
start
Jimmy Garoppolo might be a better quarterback than Aidan right now, okay? But Jimmy is making everybody else around him worse, especially the running game. And if you don't have a running game, Garoppolo's never going to be able to execute his offense.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
And if you don't have a running game, that's like McDaniels talks a lot about like his ability, or people always think about McDaniels throwing the football. His offense is predicated on running the ball, and he can't do it because Jimmy, everyone's stacking the box. So it's time to get a QB that can actually put some fear into some defenses, and I don't know if it's Aidan, but I've seen this team for 3 games. It's not Jimmy. You're not going to get success with Jimmy Garoppolo in this offense.
I want to give the Raiders front office a little bit of credit here. Maybe they were right on Josh Jacobs to not give him a long-term contract. Maybe?
I mean, Jacobs does look a little bit slower, but I'm telling you, when you're running then 8-man boxes and just teams are, I mean, the Steelers were the perfect example again last night, and it's what teams are doing. Why am I going to drop safeties back? I'm going to play guys up near the line of scrimmage.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to make you throw it past 10 yards to beat me. You know, it's just like when Jimmy tries to throw a ball 20 yards, it's hard to watch.
And I'll say this, I know Steelers fans over the first few weeks of the season were calling for Levi Wallace to be benched for Joey Porter Jr. And Levi Wallace had 2 picks last night.
And Levi Wallace last night said that he knew what plays the Raiders were running because of how predictable they were, because they just keep running the same plays over and over. Now, they do it a little bit different, but when you look at the routes, I mean, Levi Wallace just said it. If you guys don't believe me, go on Twitter, type in Levi Wallace, and type in Jimmy Garoppolo or type in Raiders. There's a video of him, and he's saying, like, yeah, we knew what plays like they were getting ready to run.
Good Lord.
That can't happen in the
That's
NFL.
not good.
Can't happen in the NFL. Keystone Raider, what's up, my guy? Shout out to PA. Can we afford to fire McDaniels? Do you think that the closed-door meeting with Mark and Gruden about bringing him back because we're still paying him? No, you're not going to bring back John Gruden. That makes no sense to bring back John Gruden. I also don't believe that the Raiders are still paying him. And then can you afford to fire McDaniels? Yes, every single NFL owner. This might surprise you. The Raiders are worth $5 billion. Mark Davis has money. I know there's this narrative out there that Mark Davis is broke. There's not a single NFL owner that's broke. Sorry. But can you afford? Yes, because I do think if you fired McDaniels, you would be able to you would create the excitement that there's a chance again. Because right now you're running into a problem that people just don't believe. They don't believe in McDaniels, therefore they're not going to spend all the money. And it's really hard to be able to wrap your mind around what the hell this organization's doing. But Keystone, you in. Sergeant Fighter, Jimmy G throws about 80 miles per hour. It's AOC time. Let's go, Raiders! What up, Yaf? Who do you think would be a good replacement for McDaniels? Well, luckily for you, coming up here on today's show, I am going to get in to the top head coaching replacements for McDaniels next year. if the Raiders end up firing. Because, again, if the Raiders fire him, they're just going to promote somebody within the organization to be an interim head coach. Though, I guarantee you, if it were to happen in season, the amount of people that would be like, do we bring back Gruden? It's going to happen.
So I heard you mention, are there rumors out there that the Raiders are still paying Gruden?
I don't believe that they are. I mean, they gave him that 10-year, $100 million contract, fully guaranteed. But because of what ended up happening...
They fired him with cause, right?
Well, yes. It was the emails.
Exactly. So I don't think they have to pay all that money to him.
I got to do more research, I guess, in the whole thing. The problem is Gruden's no longer the head coach of the Raiders, so in terms of what I care about, it's just so far on the back burner that I don't really care. I'll have to look at it, though. I'll have to look at it. David Zahn said, things are bad when Papa Renz stops visiting. Oh, my dad's been pulling up. This has been kind of a crazy week for us. So I actually have a wedding on Thursday, and my family is they're so old-fashioned where not that they don't like to fly, they love to drive. So, everybody in my family, again, I live in Pennsylvania. My cousin's getting married in North Dakota.
I had a wedding in North Dakota last year, too.
So my dad starts his drive, I believe, tomorrow, and he's going to drive to North Dakota to go to the wedding, but he's been getting everything ready over the past, week, with work and just the house, all that kind of stuff. So he's been kind of popping in and out. But my aunt and uncle, they went to the Vikings game last night because that's, part of their trek.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean...
So your dad's driving from Pennsylvania to North Dakota?
Yes.
What is that, 18-hour, 20-hour drive? That's insane.
It's a doozy. Every year, though, my dad, for his birthday present to himself, he rents a car, and he'll go from basically Pennsylvania. He'll make his way up to Fargo, North Dakota, where my cousin is. Then he'll go to Minot, North Dakota, which is a base right on the border. And then he makes a trip all the way over to Las Vegas, where my cousin is. And then he'll make a trip all the way down to Dallas to visit me. And then he goes over to Florida to visit my grandfather's brother, who's very, very old. Used to make a stop at South Carolina, where my aunt was, and then he'd get back home. I mean, he'd rent a car, and he'd put 10 to 12,000 miles on it.
That's insane.
Yeah, I agree.
So the wedding's in Fargo?
Wedding's in Fargo.
Nice.
Thursday, yeah, I fly out. Chugs and Rolly are going to be doing a watch party here Thursday Night Football.
Let's go.
It's going to be a good time. I won't be here, but you guys will be treated well. I can promise you. Luis, thanks, my guy. You are entered in for the duck race. Real One for Life t-shirt at the very end. If you send in a $5 super chat, you're in. Let's go to M. Trader, first timer. I remember my first time. The Raiders seem to be the only team in the NFL that don't value the defensive tackle position. Can't remember the last time we had a dominant DT fire McDipshit. I think the whole defensive tackle conversation is frustrating for a lot of Raider fans because imagine, I'm trying to think of a good analogy to this. Your car's showing you a check engine light, and the Raiders fans have been begging this Raiders organization for years
to
check that engine light. And then all of a sudden, you try to get into a race, but every single week, your car breaks down, and you can't figure out why your car's breaking down. You know why? Because you haven't checked the engine. The fact that defensive tackle has been such an eyesore for this organization for as long as it's been, and yet you have just totally neglected it, it's frustrating. I hate when McDaniels sits up there and he gives you all these answers about nothing, about why the team is this and that. I can tell you. I can tell you exactly why the Raiders are bad. And I can go back and look at the draft classes, the free agency moves. I mean, outside of the trade for Davante Adams, what's another slam dunk move that this organization has done since they hired McDaniels and Ziegler? The Davante Adams trade is literally the only thing that I can sit up here and say, that was great. Now, some people say, the extension with Crosby. I'm not going to get into that. Moving on from Derek Carr was the right thing to do. I agree with that. But,
slam dunk?
Not a slam. You know what I mean? Now I look at it, I'm like, maybe the Raiders should have kept Derek Carr another year. I kid, because I don't think they should have, but Derek is an upgrade right now over Jimmy G. That's how bad Jimmy G has played.
You should have gotten rid of Derek Carr.
Correct.
You probably shouldn't have replaced him with Jimmy G.
Exactly. I mean, that's I had a Honda Civic, and I want to be a drag racer, so I decided to get another Honda Civic.
Yeah.
You go from a Honda to a Prius. Michael, you're next up here on the Raiders Report. What's up, my guy? It's been a while. This is no surprise, as most fans predicted this would be the result. Awful offseason translates to a 4-win season. See, I don't think that the Raiders only win 4 games, and luckily, right, and I say luckily, here's the Raiders' schedule. You got the Chargers this week. It's not an easy game. The Packers at home, not an easy game, but winnable. The Patriots,
we'll see.
They look beatable. The Bears definitely look beatable. I think the Giants look beatable right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. The back half of this schedule, like when you go, though the Jets look kind of winnable right now, but Miami, Kansas City, Minnesota, Chargers, and then the Chiefs, yikes. I might take a 4-week vacation in the middle of the season. If you don't see me, that's why. Luis, start Aidan O'Connell, please. If you want the Raiders to start Aidan O'Connell, I want you to click that like button right now. We got 1,000 people in the building. 1,000 people in the building. And if you want Aidan O'Connell to start, I want you to click that like button. HF, what up, man? Fire McDoobie. I'll tell you this. I got to start writing down all the nicknames.
That's pretty good.
The amount of nicknames that y'all come up with for McDaniels is pretty incredible to me. Fire McDoobie. Bench Jimmy Garoppolo.
No. Jimmy Garbage.
Jimmy Garbage.
G. Garbage.
Oh, this guy's definitely from New York.
Fire
McDoobie, bench Jimmy Garbage. This organization has driven me crazy these last 20 years. Wasted Carr's prime years, never addressing the defense. Shameful. The Raiders definitely wasted a lot of the good years from D.C. Now, again, D.C. didn't play at a very high level from 2017 on. I do think he was trending in the right direction that one year with John Gruden. Unfortunately, the Henry Ruggs situation happened and a lot of things started to unfold, but the Raiders have wasted a lot of years, and right now they're wasting Devontae Adams. They're wasting Max Crosby. James, don't F with me, Lillard. What up, man? Mitch and Chugs, not quite Chugs, but
basically.
Ish. Chugs-ish. I basically traded one and I got another. So maybe some will even say the upgrade button. Though I wonder how Jeremy's doing today because
can't eat till sundown.
Yeah, it was funny because yesterday, for those that watched live, Chugs did an air boot, which record time too. It was pretty impressive. That was really impressive. But yeah, sorry, James. Back to the question: is Aidan O'Connell the real deal? I don't know, but I got to find out. Right? Like, do you think that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to win football games for the Raiders? If you say no, then why not try out what Aidan O'Connell's got? And if O'Connell's worse, then you go back to Jimmy G. Like, I would rather you at least see what the rookie has because I have no confidence right now in Jimmy G. None. Zero. James Lillard, that was the last super chat. So now it's time to get into Josh McDaniels' replacements. This is the segment that I think a lot of people are going to be excited for. Hell, I'm excited to see how this ends up. I'm
excited too.
Josh McDaniels replacements. I would say the number one question that I was asked yesterday was, all right, Mitch, who could the Raiders potentially go out and hire? Who could they go out and get if you decide to fire McDaniels? Because it's an easy thing to say, hey, the Raiders need to fire McDaniels, right? That's an easy thing to say. But just because you're getting rid of a problem, you got to get a solution, right? Like it's easy for me. It's easy for me to say it's time to move on from Derek Carr, but you can't bring in Jimmy Garoppolo, right?
Correct.
You fire Josh McDaniels and then you go out and hire some other schmuck. It's not good. You have to be able to upgrade, and I hope that this list that I have compiled here for you guys is a little bit of a upgrade button. Yeah, Danny Fan, this is something that we can agree on. You go out and hire Anthony Lynn from the Chargers, though. Brandon Staley, man, he ain't doing much better. Somebody said bring in Brian Flores or Harbaugh. I think you're going to like this show. So coming up here, we got Josh McDaniels replacements, which, judging by the live chat, judging by social media, this is the segment that everyone wants and everybody needs, and it's coming up right now here on the Raiders Report. If you want the Raiders to fire Josh McDaniels, I want you to hit that like button. Hell, I want you to be like Buddy Bear. I want you to create 3 accounts and like it from all your accounts because to me, there is not enough likes that could happen on this video. I want to try to break my record. The most liked video of all time I've ever put out on the Raiders Report, 10,000 likes. Can we get 10,000 likes on this video? That way, maybe it'll finally prove that the Raiders need to fire Josh McDaniels. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and our Josh McDaniels replacement video is presented by Panda Sups. Panda Sups is owned by a die-hard Raider fan, and he's been hooking up the nation with awesome deals, and if you want the deal that I got for you, use code FOCUS to get some new Tropics. It's like totally locks you in to the game plan. Honestly, I wish Josh McDaniels would have had some nootropics, because then he would have been able to do the simple math of 15 plus 8, carry the 1. Oh, I can get to 23 points. I can. That's what I need. Focus. And hopefully you guys are focused on some of these coaching replacements. So what I decided to do here is this. I wanted to look at some offensive, and then I also want to look at some defensive-minded coaches. I don't have these ranked in any particular order, and the list is going to change as the year goes on because, spoiler alert, I can't look into the future, or else I would have been able to tell you that the Raiders are going to lose 2 games in a row. But I can promise you this. I'm going to end up doing another Josh McDaniels replacement video. I can almost promise you. But the thing is this. Just because the Raiders, if they move on from him, they're not going to bring in a new head coach this season. You're going to promote an interim head coach. So to me, when I look at the entire overall, we'll call it coaching roster, these are your top 4 candidates to be the interim head coach if the Raiders decide to move on from Josh McDaniels. I think Patrick Graham is probably the top name. You got to think the DC, the OC. It's probably where this team would end up going. My vote would be Carmen Bricillo. I thought another interesting name would have been Rob Leonard. I probably could have put him on here. But then the other guy that I do think is a sneaky sleeper choice would be Edgar Bennett, the wide receiver coach, who's got over 30 years of experience. And I want y'all to hit the subscribe button. I've been talking about a long time. When would I ever do a 24-hour straight live stream? It's been something that I've discussed. It's been something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I'm going to make you guys a deal right now. When the Raiders fire Josh McDaniels, not if, when, because it's going to happen. Not saying this year, but it's going to happen. When the Raiders fire Josh McDaniels, we're going to celebrate live, and I'm going to be on this show for 24 straight hours. I don't want you to miss it. I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to turn on those notifications, because if you thought what we did for trading for Davante Adams was wild, oh, man, buckle up, Buttercup, because we are going to party. We're going to blow the roof off of this place when the Raiders finally realize, yeah, shit, we hired the wrong guy. So coming up here, the offensive-minded candidates that I want the Raiders to potentially look at and go out and try to get in 2024 if they decide to fire Josh McDaniels. First name is offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, and it's Ben Johnson. Johnson joined the Lions in 2019 as an offensive quality control coach and has really worked his way up a lot of boards in terms of some of the top candidates that you're going to see. 1 year of OC experience. The Lions in 2022 had a 4th overall in yards, and he showed a very new offense. If I want a head coach, I want somebody that's younger, right? He's 36 years old. He has the ability to transform, and here's my favorite word with coaches, make adjustments. I want somebody that can make adjustments, and Ben Johnson has been able to show that he knows how to make adjustments. I also think he'd fit really well with Dave Ziegler if they also decided to keep Ziegler. Let's go to the next name here, Shan Waldron, the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, and I do think that there's good options that you're going to see on this show that if it was up to me, I would only fire McDaniels and I would actually keep Ziegler. And the only way that that's going to work to me is if there's a previous relationship, and we know how important that is to this organization. So I do think that Waldron is an interesting option because he coached with the Patriots from 2008 and 2009. I know what some of y'all are thinking, but Mitch, I don't want any more Patriot guys, this and that, this and that. I hear you. But I also look at the entire coaching list that we have. And if you're going to keep Dave Ziegler, you're probably going to keep a lot of the other things that you have in place. So then you probably could end up bringing in a guy from New England. I'm not saying it's what they're going to do. It's just something to think about. And he's also done a phenomenal job with Geno Smith. I need somebody that can take a quarterback like Geno, who, no disrespect to Geno, no, the way that we look at Geno Smith now compared to the way we did 2 years ago, I do think Shane Waldron deserves a lot of credit for that. Let's go to another name here, and this is going to light up some eyes, okay? Lincoln Riley. This is only, and I mean the only way humanly possible that you bring in Lincoln Riley is if the Raiders have the #1 overall pick. That's it, because that's the only way you're getting him. I look at Lincoln Riley and I say, hey, Remember that time I gave John Gruden a 10-year, $100 million deal? Well, if you bring Caleb Williams to Las Vegas, you're the head coach, he's your quarterback, I'm going to make you the highest paid head coach in NFL history. That's my pitch to Lincoln Riley. He's doing a lot of great stuff out there at USC, and I know there's probably a lot of USC fans watching the show right now. They're like, shit, I don't know if I want Lincoln Riley to leave. I hear you. But the only way that you're going to do it is if Caleb Williams, you got the number 1 overall pick, and the only way that you're bringing in a big fish is with a lot of money. And Mark Davis has the ability to go out and do it. Now, we still got some more candidates coming up here on the show, but what kind of head coach do you want next? Do you want an offensive-minded, or do you want a defensive-minded coach? And this is actually going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so you're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break, so I want you to scroll on down and let me know. What kind of head coach do you want for the Silver and Black? Offensive-minded or defensive-minded? Let's go to the next candidate here for my McDaniels replacements. And when I sat down and thought about this list, there was one name that I knew if I did not put him on the show, I would have a bunch of people coming after me. And it's got to be Jim Harbaugh, head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. And Harbaugh was the name that I was really, really pulling for the last time this whole coaching cycle happened, because Harbaugh, Mark Davis, they have a phenomenal relationship. Now, I do think one of the reasons why they decided to go with McDaniels and Ziegler, because they wanted to have that 50-50 split. John Gruden had way too much control when it was Gruden and Mayock. Gruden was 51% say, and then Mayock had 49%. The reason, though, why I like Harbaugh is he's obviously got the connections, but Josh McDaniels can be the greatest offensive mind in the world, right? Like, and some people really think that he is the greatest offensive mind out there, and I actually think that he is a good offensive mind. I know, it's crazy to say, but he can't lead a group of men, and that's always been my number one thing that I'll always say. If you don't have a head coach that can be a leader of men, it's not going to work. In terms of X's and O's, Josh McDaniels probably runs circles around Rich Bisaccia, but Rich Bisaccia could look at that entire team, and he could get that team to believe. And that's what a head coach needs to do. And I think that's what Harbaugh does really well. And I also know that Harbaugh's had some success at the college and the NFL level. So Jim Harbaugh, you make the list. Let's go to another guy here, offensive coordinator / QB coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, Brian Johnson. And a lot of times what ends up happening every single offseason is you take some good teams and you pick some coaches from that. But Johnson has worked magic, I think, with Jalen Hurts' development. Another quarterback, like I said earlier, with Geno Smith. The way that we talk about Jalen Hurts now compared to the way that we did just 2 years ago, obviously he's had some good coaches around him, and this is going to be his first as an NFL OC, so I'm curious to see how he continues to grow. I'll admit he's probably the lowest name that I have on here in terms of offensive-minded guys, but this is a quarterback-driven league. He's played QB before. He's worked with other quarterbacks that have had some success, and the fact that it is a QB-driven league, and if you move on from McDaniels, I'm going to imagine you're going to bring in your own QB. That's where I think Brian Johnson could at least be an intriguing option. Let's go to another name here. It's Mike Kafka, and for a second I thought this was Marshall but bald, but hey, Kafka had the opportunity to learn underneath Andy Reid. That is a big-time win for me. I think Andy Reid is one of the greatest offensive-minded head coaches that the NFL has ever seen. Now he's learning underneath Brian Daboll, which, again, for those of you that watched the show back in 2022, Brian Daboll was the guy that I wanted the Raiders to hire, not Josh McDaniels. And Kafka, I do think, deserves credit for getting Daniel Jones paid a little bit. I mean, Daniel is an interesting QB. The fact that he got to learn with Patrick Mahomes a little bit, interesting offensive-minded guy, young overall dude. So Mike Kafka makes the list. So coming up next here on the Raiders Report for my Josh McDaniels replacements, I got to look at the defensive-minded candidates now. I know that there's going to be some big-time names that you're going to see, especially one. But to me, there's going to be Raider fans that want the offensive mind. There's going to be Raider fans that want the defensive mind. So to me, I try to give you a little bit of everything. That's what the Raiders Reports here is all about. Before I get into those defensive-minded candidates, I got this product right now from Panda Sups that I really want y'all to go out and try. How many people, and you don't raise your hand if you want. I always hit like my afternoon crashing period around like 2 or 3 o'clock. You take a scoop of nootropics from Panda Sups, I promise you, you're going to be more awake mentally than you can even imagine. Sometimes when you drink a lot of caffeine, you drink too much and your body crashes. Nootropics locks you in. If you're a gamer and you're playing games late at night, lock in with a scoop of nootropics. If you're a college student, a high school student, hell, if you're an adult and you're still going to school and you need to be able to lock in because you had a long work day, take a scoop of nootropics. It's going to lock you in. You're going to be more laser focused than you ever have. This might surprise you. I take nootropics before shows, so that's how I get locked in. Use code FOCUS for 25% off at pandasups.com. That link's going to be available for you guys down in the comments and in the description of today's show, and it's also owned by a big-time Raider fan, and I know he would definitely appreciate it. All right, so now look at some of these defensive-minded coaches, and the top name on here is going to be Dan Quinn. Quinn is arguably the best defensive-minded coach in the NFL, at least in my opinion. He's done wonders with this Dallas Cowboys defense over the past few years. He was the Falcons head coach from 2015 to 2020, and I look at Dan Quinn, and I'll admit, I know this is a head coaching video. I do wonder if some people are built more to be coordinators than head coaches, but I also believe that certain people deserve second chances, and to me, Dan Quinn deserves a second chance to be a head coach in the NFL. I also think that he can rally and get a bunch of people to play for him. I might make the argument that being a DC for the Dallas Cowboys it's the best coordinator job out there. Hell, I might make the argument that being the coordinator for the Cowboys is probably better than some head coaching jobs out there in the NFL. But I do think that he's going to get another shot, and if you want to build this defense, this is the number one guy that you got to keep in mind and go out and hire. Let's go to another name here. It's Brian Flores, DC for the Minnesota Vikings, and kind of what I said earlier about an option. If you want to keep Dave Ziegler, but you just want to fire McDaniels, Brian Flores might be the top name on this list from a defensive-minded standpoint. I was surprised that Miami moved on from him from 2019 to 2021 because when Flores took over, you can make the argument that he was taking over one of the worst football teams in the league and was actually competitive. Like, he was 24-25, I believe, was his coaching record. But from where that team was compared to where he left, was very, very shocking that they decided to move on from him. He's also worked with the New England Patriots from 2008 to 2018, so he has that connection there, not only with Dave Ziegler, but a lot of other coaches that are on this team, especially like a guy like Rob Leonard with the defensive line. I want a lot of cohesion, and Brian Flores would be able to bring that. Let's go to the next guy here, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals, and I practiced his name before the show, Lou Anarumo. All right, Coop's giving me a thumbs up here. And I'm a big fan of Lou, 56 years old. One of the things that I love is Lou's defense has held the Chiefs to 24 points or less in their last 3 games. And some people might say, oh, it's 24 points. If you're able to hold Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense in big-time games to 24 or less, maybe Lou knows something that a lot of other people don't. He also took over the Bengals and defense, and we talk a lot about Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. That offense is spectacular. But when he first took over, the Bengals defense was ranked like 26th in the NFL, and every single year it's gotten better and better and better and better and better. They've gotten continuously better, and we'll see how much better they continually get this season, maybe if the offense isn't as well. But he's been a DC for 5 years, and he's always trying to evolve his defense and give you different looks. It's basically the complete opposite of what Patrick Graham's trying to do right now. Let's go to another name here, and it's, again, a name that could be an interesting option if you decide to keep Ziegler. And this guy might have the least amount of experience, but I'm really starting to be able to wrap my mind around the idea of I like coaches who have past playing experience. And if you told me right now, Mitch, who's the next Mike Vrabel head coach in the NFL? I think it's Gerard Mayo. He interviewed with the Raiders back in 2022, played with the Patriots from 2008 to 2015, but the Titans are not a super talented team. But the one thing that you got to give Tennessee credit for is they play their heart out every single week. They are a tough freaking football team, and they go out there and they compete. Why? Because they take on the personification of your head coach. I think one of the reasons why the Raiders are a soft team right now is because listen to when Josh McDaniels talks. He just sounds like, when I hear McDaniels talk, I think I'm just yelling at my dog Chuck. He's got his ears down all the time. He's got his tail between the legs. I'm starting to wonder if McDaniels took a shit on the podium before he walked up there because he looks like my dog after I yelled at him when he was a puppy for taking a shit on the floor. You bring in a guy like Gerard Mayo, they're going to go out there and they're going to let the big dogs eat. That's why I like Mayo. Let's go to another name here. Raheem Morris. Another defensive-minded coach for the Los Angeles Rams, has bounced around, done some different stuff, been coaching in the NFL and college football since 2002. The Buccaneers head coach from 2009 and 2011. This is another dude that I do think deserves another shot to at least get a chance to be a head coach in the NFL. Also, he's worked with both sides of the football. So it could be a potentially interesting hire where you're like, I don't know if I want an offensive-minded. I don't know if I want a defensive-minded. But Morris has been able to work in recent years with very, very successful coaching staffs and very successful personnel overall. All right, so those are my Josh McDaniels replacements. Who do you want the Raiders to hire as their next head coach? I don't know when the Raiders end up firing McDaniels. I don't know if, right? When I say I don't know if, I don't think it happens this year unless it's an absolute dumpster fire. But I do think that sooner rather than later, you have to make the move because it's not going to happen with McDaniels. So, who's going to be the head coach that you want the Raiders to hire next? I can't wait to see what you guys come up with down in the comments. Before we get out of here, here's one more time the offensive candidates that I have to potentially replace Josh McDaniels. Again, I want to preface the Lincoln Riley is only on here as if the Raiders have the number 1 overall pick and you're able to get Caleb Williams, or you figure out a way to get to the number 1 pick, go get Caleb Williams, and then you throw the Brinks truck at Lincoln Riley. From the defensive side, Dan Quinn's the number 1 dude. I like Brian Flores, Gerard Mayo. I think Lou, again, is another interesting name. And then we're going to throw in Raheem Morris. There is a lot of good candidates out there, all of which I believe are an upgrade over Josh McDaniels. All right, who do you want the Raiders to hire as their next head coach? Let me look down here right now. I got Condor saying Harbaugh. Brian Flores from Alex S. Flores from Tyler. What up, man? Rebel Montana says Mitchell Renz. Hey, I appreciate that. Though, I don't think I could be a head coach.
I think if money's no object out of all the guys on those lists, it's Lincoln Riley for me. If you could pay him $30 million a year, he'll come be your head coach. But I don't know.
You think he would? You think he would leave USC?
Man, I know Caleb's his guy. So if he has the opportunity to coach Caleb, like you say, if they get the number 1 pick, I think he would. I think he'd consider it.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's funny. I just saw, the amount of, what, you don't like the Harbaugh thing? Hey, maybe.
Harbaugh is gone, Jack.
Harbaugh would be I think honestly the name that most people are going to think of as Harbaugh because of the connection. I see Condor saying Eric Bieniemy. The only reason why I'm not putting Eric Bieniemy on the list is because of Bieniemy's past, and the Raiders have a very strict domestic violence policy because of Fred Bilenikoff's daughter, and I do think Bieniemy is a good offensive-minded guy. I just can't see the Raiders hiring Bieniemy because of their past, and if Davis does do it, he might have to answer a lot more questions. Like, why even bring the headache in? You don't need any more headache for the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's go to, I'm not going to lie, I thought this was Jeffrey Cooper's team. We got Mark Davis should step down a role. Let Tom Brady take charge. I hope McDick doesn't set up O'Connell up for failure because he's on the hot seat and should be gone. I think if anything, like this is me being real with y'all. If I'm Josh McDaniels and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I'm saying, what's the easiest way that I keep my job? I think it's rolling with O'Connell. Because if O'Connell proves to be the guy, you're locked in for this year and you're locked in for next year.
If O'Connell works, he's 100% saves his job.
He's good.
No doubt. But if O'Connell doesn't work and you go to him, you're out.
Yes. But if you don't go to O'Connell and you keep rolling with Jimmy.
But then McDaniels could use the excuse of, look what I had to deal with. I had Jimmy Garoppolo as my quarterback.
Well,
I can't do anything.
That's what he wanted. Like that's where I don't think that he can make that excuse.
Was Garoppolo a McDaniels pick?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, if that's his guy.
He wanted, like, that's the guy he wanted.
Boy.
That's what I mean. Like, you made your bed. It's time to lay in it, man. It's time to lay in it. What up, Daniel Meeker? You in? Week 11, Raiders go to Miami. At this point, I want the Dolphins to hang 80 on McDaniels. Given his track record, it could happen. I will say I was a little bit disappointed in the Dolphins for not breaking the record.
Should have kicked the field goal. Go for it.
Which Chug said this, and I was like, how could you not do that? They had the opportunity to break the single-game record in the NFL for most points scored. The record's 72. They could have kicked the field goal and made it 73. I think it's kind of shameful that they didn't do that for their fans. I'll say this. I know the Dolphins look like an incredible football team right now. I'm going to say that they're not going to hang 70. If they put up 40 points against the Raiders, that's bad. Like, what happened against Denver, Gotta hope that.
If you're an NFL defense and you're giving up 40 points, you had a bad day. Bad day at the office.
I mean, I can remember the day that I watched when the Raiders scored. It was like, I forget who they played. It was the big McFadden game. They won like 59-14 or some crazy shit like that. I remember watching that game being like, holy shit, 50 points.
That's insane. That's unheard of in NFL, basically.
70? That's Madden. That's Madden rookie mode. Is what the fact that 90 points were scored in total in that game.
Insanity.
Wild. It's wild. Let's go to Rashissimo. What up, my guy? F. McDummy.
We've had like 4 different McDaniels nicknames in this show alone.
Oh, dude.
It's awesome. I love it.
We just need to make a list.
Keep them coming.
Pretty annoying walking out of the Allegiant last night with all the Steelers fans clowning. Hey, I hear you, man. Being in Las Vegas this weekend for all the hype, I mean, the amount of Raider fans that I saw out there, and again, Steeler fans, they're going to travel really, really well. But just being able to hang out with all the guys, meeting up with a whole bunch of the fans that watch the show, just Raider fans in general, and to have that game be the outcome, that one was a kick in the nuts. Sunday Night Football was a major, major kick in the nuts. I think we can all agree on that. Let's go to Savage. You're next up here, my brother. Fire Josh.
There's another one.
McDing Dong. Here's the new bit. You can't call him Josh McDaniels anymore. You just got to give him a new nickname that you haven't seen yet. Fire Josh McDing Dong. Put in AOC. Love your show, guys. Keep up the good work. Savage, I appreciate you. If we got time, it'd be kind of a fun... Do you think, again, this might take a little bit of time, but if we get out of here a little earlier, you could, cut, every Josh McDaniels name and just put it together in, a 1 minute?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Josh McDing Dong. Josh McDick.
Yeah.
All right.
We can do it.
Let's do it. Aiden Woods. This is for you.
Do I think Ewers could be a good NFL quarterback? Yes, I do. He obviously has inconsistency issues. His elite is elite. It is up there with the elite quarterbacks in college football. But he doesn't do it every week, and I think that's a problem. I'm going to knock on wood right now. No interceptions through 4 games this year, so that's been really nice. And he can make every throw in the book. So, yes, I do think he can be a good NFL QB. We saw it against Alabama. I mean, he has first-round talent for sure. It's a matter of can he do it every single week.
And Coop and I, we always talk about Ewers because Ewers, again, is a guy, he's from Texas, so he's been a name that's been brought up here multiple times in the Chat Sports studios. And the first 2 years that I saw him, I didn't like him because I just thought he was immature. I was trying to do way too much other shit. But this year, he seems like he's got his health in check. He lost a lot of weight. He's still got the arm talent. And I love arm talent, right? And maybe this is a bad comparison. I just see Jay Cutler in him, where you watch Jay Cutler throw sometimes, you're like, that guy's incredible. And then you see other times, you're like, what the hell was that?
Well, I could give you a perfect example. I went to the Texas versus Baylor game this past weekend. On one play, Ewers missed a wide-open touchdown to Jatavian Sanders. On the very next play, he makes an absolutely absurd play where he pump fakes and then runs down the sideline, breaks a couple tackles, 32-yard rushing touchdown. So he has those moments where in-game it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then, oh my God, that was unbelievable. Back-to-back plays.
See, I had one of my buddies come up to me who I trust his quarterback evaluation. He's like, he reminds me of Herbert, where I was like,
I can see that. I actually really like that.
Like the talent, where I feel like if you give Ewers, if he sticks it out, if he were to play 4 years at Texas, kind of the same way that Herbert did at Oregon, I think you can see the progression. I mean, as good as Ewers has got this year compared to last year.
Yeah, the thing that's impressed me the most is I think his growth as a leader.
Yeah.
Last year, he was the first year, so he got hurt his junior year in high school
Yep.
and hardly played, and then he reclassified, did not play his senior year in college, went to Ohio State. So he had hardly played any football. So I think the most impressive thing about him this year is his growth and maturity as a leader as well. He's really taken on the leadership role. And if you're a quarterback, you have to be a leader on a team.
Oh, 100%.
You cannot be a non-vocal quarterback. So that's what's impressed me the most about him so far this year. And it's part of the reason why Texas is top 3 team.
Oh, hey, I've been watching a lot of Texas football because Quinn Ewers, because to me, I don't think the Raiders are going to be bad enough to get Drake May or Caleb Williams, but maybe that'll change. I don't know. Where Quinn Ewers is that guy where could go around the 10.
Yeah.
Maybe, 10-5. That could be a little Raiders territory there. What up, Lord Only Dans? Bill Musgrave was doing good work as our OC. Let's bring him back. I always laugh because Jeremy and I, we always laugh at times Raider fans, and I get it, y'all fall in love with somebody from a long time ago. And a long time ago is, what, 2015? And then you're just like, let's bring him back. Let's bring him back. Let's bring him back. I'm probably good on Bill Musgrave. It's a totally different game, totally different offense. But, hey, maybe someday. What up, David Zaw? Today's MVP, give me Flores, and an offensive coordinator who can be cutting edge with a running quarterback with a strong arm, because that's what college is giving us these days. Time to move our team into the new NFL. I mean, when you watch this Raiders offense on,
it's not modern.
It's such an old offense. I mean, I feel like I'm watching the 1990s. I mean, it's just so difficult. There's no pre-snap motion. It is like 4 or 5 different formations, and it's 1 to 2 reads, and nothing is down the field. It's a high school offense. I mean, honestly, like, that's what I see. You're running a high school offense because your quarterback can't throw the ball down the field. You can't run the ball, so you got to run 5 to 10. It's bad. When the other team's guessing it, it's bad. I don't know which running quarterback I would want, because I'm thinking about, like, this year's draft class, and there's, like, Penix Jr. to me is probably the best runner high up. I mean, obviously Caleb Williams can run the football, but I don't need a guy that can, like, run first. But you need to have the athletic ability where you can tuck it and
You don't
run.
need a Justin Fields, who is a primary runner of the
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. L.I. Raider, Josh, I think that's McDildo.
Yes, it is.
Nice. Brandon Jasper, McClown needs to go. I've been saying it since day one. Go get a high school coach. They would be better at locals. Tell us about it, Mitch. Brandon, if you guys want more personal interaction, more live shows, you can find it over on Locals, RaidersReport.locals.com. And shout out to Brandon Jasper. Brandon, you're going to have to go pay McClown a nice little visit sooner or later. JD Raider, you're next up here on the Raiders Report. Put in Aidan O'Connell. Stay with McDaniels over more coaching carousel. Wonder where we'd be if we never fired Del Rio. I mean, here's another example. You got bringing up an old head coach. I don't know where the Raiders would be if they would have kept Jack Del Rio. It kind of goes back to what would the Raiders look like if Derek Carr never got hurt, right? Like, to me, that's the same question. Because Jack Del Rio and the idea of Derek Carr never getting hurt, it's the exact same thing. I don't know. But I also don't want to live 8 years in the past at this point, 7 years in the past.
About what happened then.
You just got to keep going forward, and to me, it's AOC time, man. Let's go to Raphael. You in. Fire Josh McDoofus. Remember when Mark Davis joked about bringing in Flores on the staff, and now his entire coaching staff is the joke? Sell the team. Raider Nation for life. I do think Mark Davis deserves a lot of blame here, right? Like, we talked about it yesterday. From a business perspective, Mark Davis has done the right thing from the business perspective. He has turned the Raiders into, I believe when he left Oakland, the Raiders are worth about $500 million, I think is what the number was. I get it, times have changed a little bit, but now they're at about $5 billion, right? Like, $5 billion, you're in the top 10 for the most wealthiest sports franchise, but the problem that Mark Davis has is he's hiring the wrong people to make football decisions. I don't need Mark Davis to be a football mind. I need him to hire the right people to do it.
Hire the right people and get out of the way.
Get out of the way. You put your feet up.
I grew up my whole life in Dallas, so I know how that goes with Jerry Jones. He cannot be a Jerry Jones. You got to hire the right people and get out of the way.
Get out of the way. Aggressive Master Raider, you're next up here. McDingleberry ruined my hype as a fan until he's fired. I mean, if the Raiders were 1-10, okay? 1-10. Obviously, at that point, you're like, holy shit.
If they're 1-10, McDaniels will not be the coach of this team.
And if McDaniels gets fired, the fans are back in.
Even at 1-10?
I think the fans are back in. If the Raiders were 1-10 and they fired McDaniels, are you back in? Why for yes and for no? I think the answer is yes. Because at that point, they just want to see how much different it is. I know I would be.
If you're 1-10 at that point, you're going to Aidan O'Connell. You will see what he has.
I'm saying, like, I would be more interested to watch the Raiders at 1-10 with a brand new head coach than
So would you rather watch them at 1-10 with a new head coach or 4-6 with McDaniels with the chance to make the playoffs?
I mean, I'll always take the chance to make the playoffs.
That's exactly.
I'll always take the chance.
So you hope they're not 1-10, but if they are,
no, I don't think anybody here wants the Raiders to be 1-10.
Yeah.
I just think Again, I don't think that that's a possibility.
Yeah,
I don't.
I agree.
I don't. We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go to Xavier Foster. Josh McInsult to McDonald's. Josh McMalfunction. Josh McWash. Josh McDoes too much. Please stop.
That's good.
You'll see that hopefully a little bit later. I mean, the amount of nicknames that we've gotten for Josh McDaniels today, this has kind of just turned into whatever you guys want to put Mick in front of.
That's basically what it is.
That's basically what we're going for here. Xavier, I appreciate you, man. And I believe you were already in, but if not, you're in. And you know what? That's all the super chats that we have here on today's show.
That's it.
So this is what's going to happen here. If anybody else needs to vent, send in those supers right now. We're going to vent. And if not, Coop and I are going to hop on out of here. Though we do have a duck race to do. And it's going to be your final opportunity to get in. Remember, send in a $5 super chat to enter our duck race, and winner is going to get a Real One for Life t-shirt.
And I know you guys have seen the duck race before, but it's absolutely electric.
Oh, dude, it's...
You can't beat it.
Absolutely. It's what I look forward to now. Raiders game days, we might just do... Chugs and I did 4 or 5 duck races on Thursday Night Football last week. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Hell, we even did them last night. The duck race we did last night for the 50-50 raffle was for $700.
Woo.
$700, man. It was high stakes stuff.
That's awesome.
All right, we got a few more rolling in here. Rebel Montana, can I send McBroken back? This coach is defective and made in China. Rebel, I think we were all hoping, man, that we could put him back. Just give him back. I don't want him anymore. It was cool for. Actually, no, I never wanted McDaniels. I was gonna say it was cool for a day. It was cool to make content, but I'm over it, man. Let's go to Mount Raidermore legend David Zahn. I don't want to do a Mick anything. He gives us Irish folks a bad name. Touche, Zahn. Touche. I'm Punchy. What's up, Punchy? I'm trying to think if there's a movie. Is it a movie or no? Is it Blue Mountain State? There's something where like the guy's nickname is Punchy.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen that show.
I think it's Punchy, and I can just remember he's like literally just punching everything. But I'm Punchy33. You're in. If anybody knows the movie reference, please let me know. That guy Ryan says, put me in. That guy Ryan, you in. You so in. All right, y'all. We got 850 people here. This is going to be your final call. Final call to get in the duck race. Winner gets a Real One for Life shirt. Sound good?
Sound good.
Final opportunity. I mean, now you got a Broncos fan in there, man. Retrick says,
Is that Sam's burner?
I don't know. Ren's crying about McDaniels, yet you wanted this. I don't know. There must be another Mitchell Renz out there, because I know I did not want Jimmy Garoppolo, and I definitely know I didn't want Josh McDaniels. So
after game 1 last year, you're like, we need to fire this guy.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. Is it How I Met Your Mother show, Ryan? Punchy. I think that's Ted's friend. Now that you said that, you're right. You're 100% right. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
My goodness.
What up, Zahn? JD Raider, any try? You know, yeah, we'll go to you push. You go. Zahn! Nation chins up. At least we didn't get 70 dropped on us. F the donkeys. Let's get some FDENs in the chat. I want to see nothing but FDENs in the chat. F the Broncos. Imagine getting 70 dropped on you.
Imagine firing Nathaniel Hackett, maybe hiring a worse coach.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, because the way that my day went yesterday, I came back from the flight from Vegas. I laid down. I took a nap. And when I woke up, I checked ESPN box score, and I saw 70 points. And I was like, there's no way.
It was unbelievable.
There's no way. Turns
Mike
out,
White got 2 touchdowns.
Turns out it happened. You're right, Zahn. Shout out to the legend, David Zahn. Everybody show some love to Zahn. Everybody show some love to Zahn. Let's go to JD Raider. Any truth to the Patrick Queen rumors? No. I don't know what the Patrick Queen rumors are. I know Patrick Queen has been rumored to be potentially traded, but if I'm the Raiders right now, I don't need to go out and trade for Patrick Queen. Like, I got to give some credit to Divine Diablo. You got to give some credit to Robert Spillane. Like, both of your linebackers have played very well. Now, if you're looking for another edge rusher, there's other players that you could go out and get in free agency. Like, there's other defensive tackles that you could go out and get. But if I'm going to try to bring somebody on defense, it's edge rusher, it's defensive tackle. The linebacking group has played well. The linebacking unit for the Raiders has played well. And I don't think that you can just debate that. I mean, it's been one of our stronger units, man. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild. Also, JD Raider, I appreciate you supporting the show. Let's go to Ryan Bass. Let's keep it a buck. Until Mark Davis sells, we will continue to hire the wrong talent evaluators, coaching, and players. I could scrap 90% of this organization and be fine. I feel like I say this all the time. I don't disagree. Right? Like, oh boy. Oh! David Zone! Bang! All right, you know what?
F it.
For Zon, I'll do it. For Zon, I'll do it. Give me a second here.
What do you need?
Go give me a happy dad.
All right.
F the Broncos, man. F the Broncos. Zon's coming out to party. Everybody show some love to Zon. Spam David Zon for a shout out here on the Raiders Report. Spam David Zon for a shout out here on the Raiders Report. Yeah, grab me a happy. Grab me a happy, Dad. I don't drink on Mondays. I probably shouldn't drink today, but you know what? Zon wants to come out and play. That Bronco fan kind of ticked me off a little bit. So let's show him how the nation gets down. Let's show him how the nation gets down here. Show some love to Zon. Spam it down in the chat. We got Bruce, Scott Raiders, Kill, Raphael, PG, Jeremy Cole, Joseph, West Coast. I got Chuck Baker, Isaac Castro, Juan Hernandez, Jeremy Cole with a Zon bomb. This one here is going to go out to Mr. Zon. Though this is going to be painful because this is ice cold. This is ice, baby. All right, Zon. I love you, brother. F the Broncos. F the Broncos.
Everyone spam chug in the chat right now.
Oh, boy.
Over under 12 seconds.
Dude, this is going to hurt. This is going to be one of those, I'm telling y'all right now, my eyes are going to be watering.
They're going to water?
Oh, dude, this is ice cold.
It's cold. Do you want to put your hands on it, warm it up a little bit?
You want to do that for me? You want to put your hands? You want to put your hands on it, rub it back and forth for a little bit?
Yeah, please.
Yeah? Okay, I got you. All right, this one goes out to Mr. Zon, and
Zon, you're goated.
We'll see how I feel after this.
Everyone spam chug in the chat, baby. Let's go. David Zon getting us going on a Monday. It's down the hatch. Oh, you well under 12 seconds. There go the eyes.
Woo!
There go the eyes.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, that shit burnt. Ooh, that shit burnt.
That shit hurt it.
Dude. Zon said we all need a drink sometime. If somebody else besides Zon sends in a 100, I'll do another one. Zon, you did your part for the day.
You're crazy, Zon.
Zon, you did your part for the day. If somebody else besides Zon sends in a 100, I'll do another one. But
I'll come join you with Little Merbunga.
Yeah, all right. Hey, 2 for the price of 1. I like it. I think it's duck race time.
Duck race time?
I think it's time.
We have a couple more to get to here.
We got a few more? Oh, sorry. I realized that we jumped the line. My bad. Let's go to Michael. Fire McDipshit and look for a defensive-minded coach. I mean, we talked about some defensive-minded coaches a few minutes ago here on the show. And I understand the idea that there are people out there that are probably want to bring in a defensive-minded coach. I want an offense.
I'm an offense guy, too. I just don't like the whole thing, defensive-minded head coach.
I think it matters your situation.
Oh!
The great tuna, Brandon Jasper Bang! Oh! Ryan Bass Bang! Let's go. Oh, put it in my veins.
You can't make it up.
Inject it in my veins. We need more. We need more happy dads.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. Ryan, is that your first one, hundo? I think it's the first time Ryan and I have banged. First time. There's a first time for everything. Tuna, put them on here. Wow. All right, we're going to go get some more happy dads here, and there's an easy way to get over a Raiders loss, I guess. We can turn it up, man. Raphael, I turned around for 1 second. And yeah, sometimes shit gets crazy here on the Raiders Report. But hey, I think it just shows this. Oh, Zahn says, I think we need a boot for that. A boot? A boot? Maybe. Maybe we'll do a boot. Maybe we'll do a boot. You guys want a boot? You guys really want a boot? You guys want a boot? Y for yes, N for no. Y for yes, N for no. Coop, can you go fill me up a boot? Yeah, fill me up a boot. Let's do it. Fill me up a boot. Let's do it. Fill me up a boot. Let's get weird. Let's do it. Shout out to Zahn for getting this shit show started. That's usually what Zahn does. Zahn's just like the guy that every friend group has a Zahn. You know what I'm talking about? Like every friend group that's like, all right, we're just going to go out, grab a drink, and that's it. And you look down at your watch, you're like, holy shit, 4 hours have gone by. I've just put down an entire case at a bar, and then you hear the last bell and it's closing time. That's Zahn. Everybody has a Zahn in their friend group. Who's your Zahn in your friend group? Let me know. Boots to the ground, baby. Yeah, this boot's going to be an interesting one. So we're out of happy dads, from what I understand. So I think I'm getting beers, which we'll see how that ends up going. But hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Shout out to David Zahn, Brandon Jasper, and Ryan Bass for making the mood a little bit better around here. I'm telling you what, sometimes you need that. Sometimes you just need a good smile and you go a long way. I mean, when you're just frustrated, when you're just an upset individual, and I get it. Like, we all love the Raiders. We're very passionate about this team, but it's because of the amount of time, money, and mainly time that you put invested into this team, and to get the result that we have gotten over the years, it's frustrating. So then the fact that you get the opportunity to be able to chop it up with some of your buddies, it's really cool. But Ryan said, first time for everything. Drink Mitch. See you on Sports Force podcast soon, brother. I know, Ryan, you've been trying to link up with me. We'll get it together here, figure out when we can do a podcast together, but that's awesome. That's freaking awesome. And I got myself a boot here. A boot, shkadoop, doop. It's going to be interesting. I'll top that off with the rest of the happy dad I had in here. Zahn said, how much until a gong? Yikes. Zahn, I'd say you're... Yeah, I mean, he's definitely sent in... Well, no, because he sent in 350s, a 2. And then he's also sent in a few... Yeah, Zahn, 150. We are 150 away from a gong rip from Mr. Zahn. which if I know Zahn, it's probably going to happen. That means it's probably going to happen. It's probably going to end up going down. Zahn, I'll make you a deal, okay? Instead of doing a real one for life shirt for the duck race winner, if Zahn hits that gong for Mount Raidermore, we'll do a jersey giveaway for the duck race. So unless somebody really wants a real one for life shirt, I don't think anybody does, you'll have an opportunity to get a Raiders Report jersey courtesy of David Zahn. So if you send in a 5, you got a chance to get it, and you got a chance to win. Only if Zahn hits the gong. So we're gonna do something special for Mount Raidermore because that's what David Zahn does around here. But Ryan Bass, shout out to you. Rebel, will Marshall finally win and Marshall finally went home, go home Marshall. I love this little rivalry that Rebel and Marshall have, and when the Raiders and Giants actually play, I'm just going to warn you, Marsh, you're in trouble, man.
When do they play?
Week 9, I want to say.
Let's go.
Week 9, Raiders, Giants. Yep, Week 9, Raiders, Giants. Graf said, turning off the phone, it's family time. I feel that. Go home, Marshall. Let's go to Joseph, first time Super Chat.
Joseph.
It sucks thinking starting over is better than moving forward with Josh McDaniels, but it's the truth. I hope the Raiders figure this out. It's been too long. Love the channel. Joseph, I hear you, and I made a video last year, right? Like I made a video last year of why the Raiders shouldn't trust Josh McDaniels to do this because you need to learn from history. And what Josh McDaniels did in Denver is literally the exact same thing that he's trying to do here, and that's McDaniels' biggest problem is he only knows one way. And his one way has never worked when Tom Brady hasn't been a part of the equation. And instead of thinking and just saying, okay, well, I might have to change up a little bit, he doesn't do that. He just keeps doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And it drives me absolutely, positively insane. Drives me nuts. Savage says, put me in, coach. $5 super chat. Remember, if David Zahn sends in 150 more, we rip the gong. We're doing a jersey giveaway. And if you send in a $5 super chat, you are entered in for a chance to win a Raiders Report jersey at the very end of the show when we do a duck race. And honestly, Coop just said something to me out loud, and this might surprise you, but guess what? This one's rolling in from David Zahn. Spam David Zahn down in the chat. David Zahn. If you don't spam Zahn, you eat corn the long way. Let's get some Zahns going.
Let's go, Zahn.
Let's get some Zahns going. And now that means the duck race is for a Raiders Report jersey. I'm rocking my Lucky Irish today. So if you want your name, your number here on the Raiders Report, send in a $5 super chat for a chance to get in our duck race. Whoever wins, you get your jersey. Shout out to Blue Richard. Shout out to Rebel Montana, DJ Loaded, R. Phillips, VT Holmes, Ryan Bass, Nick, Raider Rob, 702, Blue Richards. Laugh at it. What up? Zahn says, got your jersey guys. Yeah, go get your jersey guys. Shout out to the legend David Zahn, man. Raphael, Duval, Tadashi, VTJ Holmes. Let's go to Savage. Said, put me in, coach. Guess what? You in. Ryan Bass, you were already in.
You're in, brother.
Yeah, you were good. Swoop said, it's gong time. Love it.
I've never been in here when you've done the gong. I've been outside of the
really?
office.
It's loud.
Oh, boy, it's loud.
It's loud. That shit rattles.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it's even louder from my standpoint.
Yeah, you're right next to it.
I'm in there. I'm literally in the gong.
Eric N. is also in.
You in, Mr. Eric M. All right, so this is what we're going to do. I got a boot right here. Coop said that he's also going to knock back a Murbanga, so I'm going to take back this boot for Mr. Zahn, and then we're going to get into this duck race. Unless, usually how these shows go is if you guys want to turn this into a shit show after yesterday, by all means. At this point, I'm in. Also, Scott just sent me a 5, so put Scott and then put Buff. Scott Buff. Scott Buff, you in. If you also want to Venmo me to get into the duck race, you can do that as well. $5 Venmo, Super Chat, whatever's easiest for y'all. All right, Coop the Loop. You ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, y'all.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, oh, boy's right. When you finish that, I need you to then give some shout-outs here. If you want a shout-out here on the show, I want you to spam David Zahn after Coop does that. And after I get done with this, we're going to give some shout-outs here. Shout-out to the GOAT, David Zahn.
Let's go. I see Xavier Foster, R.N. Farrell, Keystone Raider, Illuminati, Nick, Aggressive Master Raider, Blue Richards, Raider, Gaines, Lawrence, Timothy, Travis, Aggressive again, Michael, Tolbert, Marco, Zamora, Ariel, Zuniga, Zahn, baby. The Zahn bomb came in today. Let's go.
I think my new rule is going to be this. And you guys, I'm going to make a deal that's going to last all season long, okay?
I'm in.
And here it goes. The only way going forward that I am drinking on Monday and Tuesdays is if I hit that gong. That's the only way. Because if I do what I'm doing, dude, I'm telling you right, I'm on a bender. Thursday, Chugs and I went hard in the paint for Thursday Night Football. Friday in Las Vegas with the guys. Saturday in general was a shit show. Sunday night last night, and now today.
Ridiculous.
I'm on a bender right now. I'm telling you this right now. I can't do it the entire season. But if I hit that gong, if somebody wants to party on a Monday or Tuesday, or if you're like, you know what, I need to have a good time.
We're hitting the gong.
If we hit the gong, we're partying.
Let's do it.
That's the deal. Luis, going to be at the Giants game week 9. What do you think our record will be? Put me in. Long live Mr. David Zahn. I'm going to hope that the Raiders' record by that time, week 9, I'm going to hope 4-4. I'm going to stay positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to stay positive. I will say this. You can beat the Packers. You can beat the Patriots. You can beat the Bears.
You should beat the Bears.
You should. There's winnable games in there.
It's not impossible to be 4-4 after 8.
I agree. Let's go to L.A. Crash Dog. Better late than never. Just got up. What up, fam? Semper Fi.
Yeah, in.
L.A. Crash Dog, one of the people here at the Silver and Black Hills. Cheers to Mr. Gunny. What up, Brian Littleton? You also in. Mark Davis looked disappointed last night after that game. Hopefully, that's a good sign and put me in, coach. I think the easiest way to get Mark Davis to notice how upset Raider fans are, this is probably an unpopular opinion, is to not go to the games.
Yeah.
You got to impact his pockets. That's the only way you're going to open up his eyes. I don't want that to happen because obviously I want more Raider fans at the games. That's what I want. But that's what Mark Davis cares about, dollar bills. And that's what an owner should care about. Yeah, he might say that he cares about his father's legacy, commitment to excellence, but I'm sorry. There's no way that he can honestly look me in the eyes and look any Raider fan in the eyes right now and say that what we're doing is commitment to excellence. What we're trying to do is just win, baby.
If he was telling you that, he'd be lying.
I agree. He also said last year when the Raiders were 2-7 that the coaching staff was doing a good job.
Oh, boy.
Yep. VT Holmes. So, David Zahn, you're the man, always. Mitch, Josh McDick replacements. I'm losing faith and tired of watching. It's truly sad. Shield for life, real one for life. VT Holmes, I actually did a video. We literally just talked about it here a little bit earlier. Some of my offensive candidates that I had as a potential replacement, these are the offensive dudes. The only reason why Lincoln Riley's on here, as I said, if the Raiders had the number 1 overall pick, you get Caleb Williams, and you throw Lincoln Riley, the Sean Payton deal that the Broncos gave him, laugh at it. Because if I'm Lincoln Riley, that's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for something way, way bigger than what Sean Payton got. And then your defensive-minded guys, Dan Quinn. There's actually a lot of really good names on this list. I think Brian Flores is an interesting name. Gerard Mayo, Raheem Morris, and then Lou
Anarumo.
Anarumo to the wall. I don't know. Like that's what I hear when I say it. But Lou also very good defensive-minded guy, 56 years old, has had a lot of success actually against Andy Reid and the Chiefs. Steel Cage. I'll be at the game next week. Not even excited.
I love it.
Oh, man, you got to be excited. And, this is the way I'll look at it. Look at it more as you going to, hang out with your friends, right? Like, you're going to go hang out with the nation. You're going to go have a good time. Like, that's why we do what we do here. I can't promise you if the Raiders are going to win. Nobody can promise you if the Raiders are going to win, right? But I want people, when they tune into the show, to have, that moment where you forget about what's actually going on outside of your life. And you can just sit here, have a really, really good time, and I mean it. It's a therapy session. Now, I don't know how many therapists are like, yo, chug this beer right now. But
a little different.
A little different, right? I mean, it numbs the pain. But I do think it's that ability to just disconnect. And whatever your ability is to disconnect, you need that in your life. And I hope that the Raiders Report helps you do that. Because I don't know about y'all, man, it helps me. Talking to y'all helps me it goes a long way. It truly, truly does. Okay.
Duck race time?
I think it's duck race time.
All right.
Duck race time here. So, Coop, how many people are in?
We have 45 in right now.
All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll through all the names. So if you could go to the names, because I just want to double check.
Yep.
So go to the very top here. We got Dylan Erickson in. Wild 114. David Zahn. Obi Kwan. Perfect. Arlen. Raiders Pod. Mario Moreno. Aiden Woods.
Yep.
Bullyface. Raider Gaines. Trey W. Nick. PG2869. Keystone Raider. Sergeant Fighter. Yaf. Luis Ramirez. M. Trader. Michael Yukon. H&F. Dr. Y. James Lillard. Jeffrey Chapp. Daniel Meeker. We're still good? Okay. Rashissimo Locke. Savage. Lord Only Dans. Brandon Jasper. J.D. Raider. Rafael Murillo. I hope I didn't pronounce that right. Xavier Foster. Rebel Montana. I'm Punchy 33. That Guy Ryan. J.D. Raider. Ryan Bass. Good Gracious Ass Bodacious. Love that name. Move Today. Shout out to Killa. Brandon Jasper. Joseph Bat something. Yep, you got that one. Michael Tolbert. And then, who else?
Swoops, Eric M., Scott Buff, L.A. Crash Dog, Brian Littleton.
VT Holmes. Did we already say that one?
I need to add VT. Good call.
All right, you got to add VT. VT's the only one, and then we have everyone in. VT's the only one, and then we got everyone in. If you don't know, $5 Super Chat or Venmo. Did you add Scott Buff?
Scott Buff is in.
Scott Buff is in. All right. $5 Super Chat or Venmo for a chance to win a Raiders Report jersey courtesy of the one and only David Zahn.
Are we ready to ride?
Zahn just said, good gracious, ass bodacious, LOL, I just died. I hear you, man. I hear you. That's a great name. There's no doubt about it. All right, y'all. I think we're ready. We got 45 ducks. We're not ducking around here. We're not ducking around here on the Raiders Report. That's crazy. 45 Ducks, a minute to go.
Here we go.
You ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready? You count me down.
Yeah, VT, you're in, bro. All right, so first off, are the Ducks, what order are they in?
I have no idea.
Can you go back, or is it too late? I don't know how the whole thing works.
I can go back.
So you can randomize. And I don't know how to do it.
Hang on.
Chugs, so I know like once, I forget how Chugs does it. You can randomize, but I don't remember how. I think what it does, it's just going to put them in.
I know on a Wheel of Names you can randomize.
You can randomize in the duck race too. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Let's just get to it. I don't remember how. I just know Chugs, because one time somebody was like, you got to randomize it. Yeah, I don't remember how. It's all good. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's get it going. Let's get it going. All right, y'all. Who you got? Who's going to win? And starting in 3, 2, 1, go!
Go, Ducks, go!
The winner of this race gets themselves a Raiders Report jersey and out to an early lead. You got Meeker there. He's got it this one by a bill.
PG 2869.
Might be pulling up here a little bit. Raiders pod. Don't sleep on him. Move today, a.k.a. Killer Cruising. PG 2869 with the lead. Now he's going to fall back a little bit. Watch out for that guy, Ryan. I like his positioning. Giggity. Rebel Montana, Lord Only Dans. You can never sleep on him.
MT Raider.
LA Crash Dog pulling up from behind. 26 seconds to go. I actually think David's on. What if he wins his own race?
That would be unbelievable.
Is David Zong going to win his own race? MT Trader. Now he's starting to pull away. I feel like Eric M has an advantage with that bill. Let's just say it. Eric M.
Final 10.
Eric M is packing some heat right now. Watch from the bottom. Watch from the bottom. 5 seconds to go. Oh, my Lord. At the buzzer. Arlen Howland said, don't sleep on me.
He wins the jersey.
Oh, man, that was legendary.
I love duck racing.
Wow, Arlen Howard from behind, Giggity, pulls this one out and comes away with a win. A lot of Giggities there. Shout out to Arlen.
Oh, my goodness, Arlen.
What an electric finish there.
You can't make it up.
Dude, look at all those chickens. Arlen, are you here? Is Arlen in the building? Congrats to Arlen. Arlen is one of our OG watchers. Also, for people for tonight's game, Joe Burrow plans to play.
I don't know. I don't know if he should do that.
Dude, I don't know. Arlen, congratulations. I don't know if Arlen's here, but Arlen will show up sooner or later. At least I know Arlen's real name. Like, I just got Dank Dank's real name.
Oh, yeah?
Because when we asked Dank Dank for his shipping address, said his name is Dank Dank. Believe it or not.
Can't do that. U.S. Mail doesn't allow
U.S. Mail's like, I don't know who Dank Dank is, but it's a dank name.
There he is. He's in the chat.
Arlen, let's go! All right, Arlen, this is what I need you to do. Can you put yours in? My Twitter's a shit show.
Oh, yeah, I'll put mine in.
Yeah, so, Arlen, what I need you to do is this. I need you to give Jeff a follow on Twitter and then DM him your first and last name, which I'm going to guess is Arlen Howland. And then all we need, actually, no. I just need to know what you want from a jersey standpoint. I was going to say, we're not shipping you anything. So, essentially, what I need you to send Jeff is what you want on your jersey. So, like, we have Lucky Irish here. It's 10 characters. So, you could do a Howland if you wanted to do Howland. And then I want you to send me your top 5, let's do top 10 number choices. Because I have to figure out what numbers are available. So, do it in order of, like, which one you want the most to which one you want the least. Send that to Coop on Twitter, and then we can get you set up.
There's my handle right there at Jeff_Coop27.
At Jeff_Coop27. Hopefully Arlen has a Twitter. Arlen, you got a Twitter? I guess that's the next question here. This is usually the battle that we play.
Or an X.
What?
It's called. They're calling it X now.
It's not. Coop, I didn't think you would be a big fan of X, but you learn something new every day, right?
Rafael Murillo says he wanted that jersey.
All right, Arlen.
Arlen does not have Twitter.
Arlen, do you have
Instagram?
You have Instagram, Arlen? Arlen, do you have Instagram? Let's try this. Or Arlen, here's what you can do. In the chat right now, put what you want your name to be and put the top 10 numbers that you would want. And if you can do that, then we can lock it in.
Then we'll be all right.
And then we can go. Sound good? So while we wait for Arlen to put what he wants, courtesy of David Zahn. Also, if everybody could one more time, shout out to Zahn.
Zahn, what a go.
Say thank you to him. I mean, there's a reason why, and I get it. To get on Mount Raider more, it's not always about money. But when I tell you right now, and it's crazy to me, like when you meet people, and it's really cool to be able to meet Zahn in person. He's the exact same way. Like you hang out with Zahn in person, you're gonna drink a little bit. You're gonna have a night. But like to be able to see this show grow from where it was to where it is now, I mean, it's a big reason because of guys like Raider Ron, David Zahn, a lot of the OG GOATs that show love to the show, and they do it because they love the nation. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you ask any single person why they do what they do, it's simply because they love Raider Nation. So, Arlen,
I see you in the chat.
I need to know, Arlen, what you want on your jersey. How about, Arlen, how about this? I can give you Howland, Jesus. Howland is here. And then what's a number that we haven't used yet?
69.
It's gone. Hellcat Q.
Ah, that's right.
Hellcat Q is 69. I will say a lot of the 90s are available.
88?
I don't think 88's available. I want to say 88 is LA Crash Dog. What number are you? Are you 88, Crash Dog? Arlen. Yeah, 88 I'm pretty sure is Crash Dog. Yeah, I was going to say. It's amazing to me how I know people now by numbers. Like, Buddy Bear's 1, Roxy's 2, Buddy Bear's other cat's 3. Or no, Choco Bear's 2, Roxy's 3. 4 is Raider Ron. Somebody new just got 5. Jelani is 8. 9 is Cat. 10 is Mary Ann. We just got a new one for 11. 12 is the Otto family. 13 is Lucky Irish. 14 is Wild One. 15 is available. 16 is Raider Ron. 17 is John Borelli. 18 is available. 19 is available.
24 is Trivan.
24 is Trivan. 21 is Sergio. 20. Somebody's 20, I think. 22 is also Borelli.
Okay, he just put what he wants.
Okay.
He wants A. Howland, and he gave us some number choices. 77?
15 is the only available one there.
Not 77?
Robert Jansen is 77.
00, I know that's occupied.
Yep, 24 is gone. 24 is Trivan. 12 is Sarah Otto family. 75 is Zahn. 77 is Robert Jansen. 00 is Belroso. 7, we have a 7 back there. I've only worn it once or twice. I'm trying to think of who it is. 3 is gone. 99 is... Actually, I think 99's not taken. Chugs has a 99 jersey.
But it's Chugs.
Chugs. A. Howland, 99. I'm going to type that to you. That way I don't forget.
Do you want 99 or 15?
He's getting... I told him in preference. So, A. Howland, 99.
There it is.
A. Howland, 99. It is...
Rebel says 99's taken from the Booth family.
Is it? Oh, it is the Booth family.
15 it is.
A. Howland, 15 then. It's got to be the Booth family. Yeah, because that one's also Rebel.
Yeah, he wants 15 anyways.
Okay. A. Howland, 15. Done. I gotta make a list, man. I literally say it every single day. I'm like, I gotta make a list of the jerseys available.
It takes up our entire closet back there.
It's a hell of a list. There's no doubt about it, man. Rebel says, I know the jersey numbers. Cool. Well, hey, Arlen, number 15, that's you, man. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to everyone participating. And also, a huge shout-out to David Zahn. I'll also say this. I'm a man who, when I get close to something, I don't like to leave.
You like to finish.
I'm a big finisher. You guys know what I'm talking about here. We are 130 away. Okay? 130 away. I don't want to do another boot, and I hope that you guys are okay with that. If we get 130 more in supers, it's a big number. I know. I hear you. If we got 3 people to send in a 50, I'll do one more beer bong, and I'm going to make you guys a really special deal tomorrow because for people who don't know, tomorrow is going to be my last live show of the week. My last live show of the week is going to be tomorrow. I got a wedding in North Dakota on Thursday, so it's actually going to be Chugs and Rolly. They're going to hold it down on Thursday Night Football. So I ain't doing anything on Thursday Night Football. I got a wedding to go to. If we get there tonight, I'm going to make you guys a deal tomorrow.
That you'll enjoy.
That I think that we might keep this bender rolling.
Oh, boy.
We might keep it rolling here. I'm telling you what. I need... After last night's game, I'm more frustrated from last night's game than the Bills game. Do you guys agree with that? Like, more frustrated from last night's game than the Bills game.
Well, because you had an actual chance to win this game.
You should have beat the Steelers.
Yeah.
Like, to me, the Steelers and the Raiders are the same team in different ways. Like, the Steelers' defense is very legit. The Raiders' offense should be a lot better. Like, the Steelers' offense is not very good to me at all. But, like, they're a team where the Raiders, I could make the argument, should beat the Steelers every time. And Steelers fans could probably make the same argument that the Steelers should beat the Raiders every time. What it came down to is turnovers. No turnovers for Pittsburgh, 3 for the Raiders.
I know it's cliche, but lose the turnover battle, lose the game.
I mean, my very first key to victory, which is, I always feel like it's like it's an easy way out. Keys to victory.
Take care of the football.
No turnovers. But it is the perfect example of that.
It's an easy way out, but it's true every game.
It is the perfect example of exactly that. All right, y'all. We don't got anything here, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to get out of here. Coop's going to get out of here. The next time that you see me, Chugs will be back. So everyone, I want you guys to say thank you, though, to Coop because, again,
thank you, guys. I enjoyed today.
All your Super Chats, all your Venmos, they go to the company, and they give us the ability to still be able to run this live show when Jeremy's not here. I tell you this, man, they don't go in our pockets. It might be a hard thing to believe, but they don't go into our pockets. It helps being able to create more content for the nation. And Coop, he pulled up because that's what it's about here.
Let's go, baby. I had a good time with Raider Nation.
Yeah, the nation. You never know what you're going to get.
You never know. I was excited. When you messaged me this morning, I was on the way in. You're like, you're with me today. I was like, let's go. I'm excited.
Yeah, you did. You never know what it's going to be. And that's kind of the fun part of Raider Nation. Raider Nation's like...
Rebel wants me to shout, go home, Marshall. Marshall is not here, but I will tell him. Go home, Marshall! Go home!
Is he not here?
He's doing his live show.
All right. Rebel, go over to the Giants show or Knicks. I don't know which one he's live for.
Giants today.
Giants? Tell him to go home. Tell him to go home. Speaking of that, David Zahn says, I'm out. Good night, everybody. Good night to David Zahn. Good night to the entire nation. Remember 2 very good Monday Night Football games tonight. So how about this? From me, from Jeffrey Cooperstein, we appreciate every single one of y'all. David, again, huge shout out to you, brother. Congrats to Arlen. Always watching the show. He's finally got himself a jersey. Peace out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Raiders Report live here, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific.